Hello and welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Stanton. This is our third episode, and as you know already, it's the one about Star Citizen, where we have one person that has no clue about what they're doing, and the other one that actually has a clue. Me being the first one, just to make
Stop
sure you
setting me up
understand.
like that.
You've been
When I
playing the
say
game forever, dude. that's where I'm. I've been here. I'm a potato. I've been here for what, a year, and that's it. So yeah.
Star Citizen Millennial, sure, but yeah, I'm like by no means am I an authoritative source on all things Star Citizen. I just follow it obsessively.
So humble compared to me, you are. But anyways, first of all, just like the last time, thank you for the reactions, and obviously whoever made it throughout the show and listened. It means a lot. It's a lot of fun to like see the stats going up for a brand new project like that. It's very heartwarming. So yeah, thanks so much. Know
Yeah,
that we appreciate it, and any feedback means a lot, so that we can like shape this into where it's better for us and you guys who are listening or watching. Remember, not the podcast. How is it?
YouTube talk show.
YouTube talk
We
show.
we have been corrected. This is not a podcast.
This is not a drill. All right, so big week in Star Citizen, kind of not because of the game itself, but because of a big, arguably biggest event made by community. That's actually a nice question that I have for you. Like, was there anything like ever like Daymar Rally before? No.
No, I was actually going to say I'm pretty sure that the Daymar rally is like hands down the largest player organized and dev sponsored event
Yeah, they
out there.
are well sponsored. Oh yeah, it is.
Well, yeah,
They're
'cause
actually
I'm,
giving
I'm
away
pretty
ships and whatnot. So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure that they they give them all fresh servers and stuff like that too, as far as I'm
they're
aware. But
definitely around. Then now we had kind of direct feedback from some of the CIG members, which we're gonna mention, that CIG devs are actually actively watching Daimar Rally, and they're also doing things in preparation of the event, which is kind of funny for me to hear like directly from someone from CIG, which I want to explain. So yeah, big news. We had our 2951 Daimar Rally again. Standard stuff, 3 categories. We had bikes, which were only GravLab vehicles for now, so Dragonfly and Nyx. And we had they call it buggy division, but it's actually it's only cyclones, mostly RC ones, the racing, and I'll explain why. Someone would think that TR is actually the best choice because it's open fire race on the ground, but yeah, there's a reason why no one is using them anymore. And then in third category we had Ursa rovers, which is actually the most hostile one because these things are kind of slow. But if I ever get into Daymar rally, I'm gonna be part of that because I really like Ursa rovers.
dude, that doesn't that like the rovers are so slow, they take like 4 hours to complete the race, so don't they?
Oh, there used to be like 9 to 10 hours for Ursa rovers actually. But
That's
that's a
crazy.
nice thing to talk about. They've changed the course. Until now, you would start at a certain point on Daymar and then go to the next outpost and then go to 3 checkpoints, which are ships. So they're not like actual places on the moon. And then you would end in Kudre or I'm not sure. That doesn't matter. Now
Hmm.
this year they removed all 3 stops, which are the idea behind it makes sense. The idea behind these is to go recharge your batteries, fix, repair. Just like in rally series
Yeah.
or actual Dakar rally, which this is all based on. So this was surprising. The length of the rally was much shorter time wise, I'm still not sure because I was watching this the entire thing as I always do, and Crucian. So three people were like kind of hosting this: Crucian and Detox, who did a really good job compared to last year, which was a shit show. This year it was very interesting to listen, with one caveat, but I'll explain. And then they had Captain Richard, who he's a funny guy, man. I don't know if you watch his streams. I'm not really watching him that often because I don't like have time to watch streams that much. But he was like their reporter from Daymar itself. So he was saying
That's
like
awesome.
yeah, he's like, I
Okay.
got used to the atmosphere, so I don't need the helmet anymore. I don't know how. And when like this, they're not messing up with Wi-Fi. We're having good signal, and
That's
it,
so good.
it
You
was so
start
good. It
it
was
up.
so good. Yeah. Then at one
Okay.
point they switched to him, and he has like the beach towel and sunglasses. Like it's really hot. It's daylight. It was really good. It was really good.
That's awesome. Okay, so I should preface all this by saying that like I know about the Daymar rally, and I've like heard interviews with the creator Corsair and stuff like that. And I've always thought it's really cool, but I've never actually got around to watching one, or to even like even consider participating in one. So I don't know. This is all really fun for me to hear because I think it's a super cool event, even though not really my thing. I don't really feel like the need to participate or whatever. But I will say, like from a noob's perspective, hearing that they shortened it a bit actually sounds good to me because it feels like it'd be a little bit easier to watch. Um,
It was just over 3 hours for the first Revlev to finish, which is much
really?
shorter
Okay.
than they expected. Now
Yeah.
Ursa's, I don't know, I went to sleep. But they
But the
did not.
buggies,
Was
like I
buggies
feel
were
like the
like an hour later or even less, like not more than
yeah.
4 hours. The
See, I think
reason
the
I could
buggy
not watch the
division,
whole thing is this is my one and only, I don't even know, suggestion for change. So Damarelli is really long event and it's very slow. Um, they had amazing crew behind the scenes. Like obviously to make they had 14 servers, bunch of camera people, a bit too many I think, but that's fine. Um, three commentators. They had interviews. Um, but it lasts 5, 6 plus hours. We
mhm,
had a pre-race show 3 hours long that no one knew is going to happen. So they said it's starting at a certain time, which was 6 p.m. Central European for me, for example. And I tuned in. I was even like restreaming it kind of because I wanted to watch it. But it did not start for more than 3 hours in. And they were like, we
that's
have to
pretty rough.
talk to like the sponsors and all that. Like, it, if they said it like an hour, okay. I don't know how long is like Super Bowl pre-show. It's like not 3 hours. That's
Yeah,
crazy. So I don't like that because they can do all the talks and everything throughout the show. It's not like packed with action. It's more like endurance race.
right.
So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Maybe if you or tell people that you're gonna have a 3 hour pre-show because I would still be there, lurking or something. I'd
yeah.
be in and out, but like I don't really 3 hours and then six
I
hours
think
on top
that's
of that.
legit,
That's really
man.
cool.
Because like, how many people wanted to watch the rally, tuned in, and then got
Left.
bored during the pre-show and then left and never came
That
back?
absolutely happened because they peaked at around 4,000 people, which is I kind of expected it. It's like the match of the last year. But during the rally, they were around 1,800 or so. So they definitely did lose people. But yeah, I mean, again, it's Atmo Esports are organizing all this with Crucian on top of it all, and regardless of anything, from my side, big kudos. Thank you for what you are doing. Everyone should be at least aware of the biggest event in the game made by community, and
Mhm.
to like try and explain how big this is for Star Citizen in general. Uh, they're adding this to the lore of the game, which Paul talked about Astropub several times. And they also have like mini patches, and they try to fix it for so CIG values how much of exposure they get, and hype that they get in a very dark moment, like with January, February. Usually, there's nothing happening, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's right
Star
there.
Citizen doldrums.
Yeah. So one, I'll just, we're not gonna talk like too much into it. It just if we're gonna have links, and in the letters part of the show where which is called what, oh my god, Stanton gossip. We're gonna mention a couple of links and whatnot, and you're gonna see links. Well, you can see the links in the description of the video if you wanna familiarize yourself with the rally itself. What I wanna bring up just shortly, uh, both Xylo and Lando showed up kind of randomly and accepted the invitation to be interviewed during the rally, which I think is really important. Again, this,
Yeah.
I, I mean, just the way they coordinate everything and come in and talk to folks who are organizing it, and I mean, that's really cool. I think that's very
Yeah.
important.
I think it's really cool to see people who are kind of like the faces for CIG, you know, uh, getting into events like this. I think it's really cool to see them making appearances. There's like a cynical side of me that thinks like, well, like this is, all part of it, all part of the like um
The show.
just yeah, it's part of a show. It's part of the kind of like ingratiate themselves with the community. But I want to believe that that's not the case, and
I
these
don't think
people
it
are
will.
just stoked that this kind of thing is happening in a project that they're kind of like deeply involved in.
I
But
mean, regardless, it's cool, but it was very scuffed. So if you ever get the chance to listen to it, you'll see immediately that
very
that was
raw.
not. We're very raw. It was definitely not planned. It was very funky because both of them, when Crucian was done with like talking, to both Tyler and Lando, he would throw it over to Detox and like, hey, Detox, you have anything to ask, Lando? And Detox would be like, oh, no.
Okay, so like very obviously not
Yeah.
scripted.
And then
That's
he would be
cool.
like,
That's cool.
well, I
At
was
any
paying
rate,
attention to the cameras. And like, okay, whatever.
even if I feel a little bit, like there's a cynical side of me that kind of wonders if there's ulterior motives behind this. I still think it's cool to see
Yeah,
them
even if
kind of
there is.
popping in here. I think this is the first time I've heard of them kind of actually doing this
Exactly.
this sort of thing. So
They are
yeah,
there. Like, Tyler is in a lot of chats,
yeah. Well,
Um,
that's not surprising. Tyler's in a lot of chats, like all the time, for different streams and stuff like that. So like, it makes sense that he would be in Daymar Rally, like you said, the biggest Star
event.
Citizen
Yeah.
event.
Just to explain
Period.
for those who are listening and are not really like living like us on Twitch or YouTube, I don't know. Tyler, also known as Xylo, is a community manager for Star Citizen, and he is um, basically in touch with a lot of content creators, either from the shadows or publicly. Like, you can see him appearing in a lot of chat, a lot of streams where he openly answers questions by, not all of them, obviously, because you get trolley questions all the time, but like from either the chat of the streamer or the streamer themselves. But super approachable guy. Actually, I'm gonna actually link both Disco Lando and Tyler's streams in the description.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, both of them stream.
They
They're not
deserve it.
streaming Star Citizen, however. So they stream whatever. So yeah, like, check them out. They're cool dudes. I like them. I like them a lot. Nice people. All right. Uh, the next one that is in news, that's actually not there. I'll explain later. The Cutlass Black thing. But here's a thing. Okay, you ready, Maso? For the
Sure.
So some time ago, before we even started this podcast, which was not that long ago,
Yeah.
every or
Holy
most
shit! It's
of
been 3 weeks
content,
already.
yeah, or most of the content creators were talking about one thing, and that was the leak about the new Origin ship 400i. And here we are. This is the first place you're gonna hear it. It's coming out tomorrow. Whenever you're listening to this, tomorrow,
Jesus.
400i's. No? Oh, I thought that's what we were gonna say. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, so obviously nothing happened. 400i never appeared in the game, and I was kind of, I don't
This is
know,
my
I
surprise
wanted
face.
it. I kind of, I don't know, man. They did not make that many mistakes with like ships. I guess since I'm
Yes,
playing the
they
game.
did.
Well, since I'm playing, so in the last year.
No, in the last year. Like
Nomad.
the whole Odin, which was supposed to be looking like something that it didn't end up looking at all like. It obviously wasn't the game file for that thing. And then it changed, and they came out and said that it was absolutely called the gunboat because that's
Oh
that's what.
yeah, okay. But wait,
And then
Gumbo.
and
Oh,
you know and
but this was all
yeah, so
Perseus, right?
this was all the Perseus,
But
but
then the
like
ship
the
came out of
images
it in the end,
the
right?
images that they showed were
Okay,
not
okay, sure.
how it was. It wasn't the Odin. It wasn't the gunboat because let's.
It's not a
Anyways,
gunboat.
and then it ended up coming out as something like, I mean, sort of. I guess it was. I guess they were kind of on that it was a Corvette,
It was
you
an
know.
RSI ship in the
But
end. We got the ship. They did hit the nail with ROC. You
I don't know.
remember?
Sure. Yes, they did. Yeah,
So
because
I am
ultimately they're.
kind of surprised that there's nothing coming out of this one.
I'm not, and this is kind of where I was going with this.
Yes.
Was that I think that like CIG knows that SC Leaks is pulling shit from their game files now. So do
Yep.
you think that they're going to put anything in there that they don't want us to know about? No, they're going to hide them.
See, but
Which
that's what I think. I think that we
I think
go for it. Go for it.
I want to finish this point. I think that it's getting to a point that we're going to start seeing CIG trolling potential leakers by throwing in, or what did you use? Debate.
Debate, yeah.
um,
Random shit.
yeah, just like and so that's what I feel like the 400 in this case was. I don't think that this means that they're never going to throw out a 400. I think that it makes sense that
It makes sense, of course.
there's a space in the 400i
For sure.
or in the Origin lineup for the 400i. But I think this whole thing with SC Leaks calling it coming out in 312 or like a mid patch of 312 or something like that. And frankly the art and the files that they leaked, I think that's a huge troll.
We've found
Personally,
a yacht that looks like that, like almost
yes,
1-to-1 IRL.
I think CIG knew that design was going to be controversial, to say the least, which fair enough.
A believable
Fucking
kind
stupid. But kind of believable, yeah, like you said, like could just be like some of their early concept work even or something like that. And yeah, I think that's what the whole 400i thing is. I think that at this point CIG knows what's up. And I think that instead of just hiding things, I think they're going to start having a bit of fun with potential leakers who are scraping game files for for leaks.
I was
And I think that's what
afraid
this was.
at some point because I kind of felt they know, of course, they're not dumb.
Of course they do.
But
Yeah.
I kind of felt like they're using it in their own advantage, like because it does create hype and preps people to spend maybe, or something like that. Like
Right.
with ROC. However, they have to do more than this, right? If they keep, there was another one for Nomad where they had files for like pooping or stuff, like how much time you can spend in the
Yeah.
toilet or something like that, which everyone was talking about. Oh, new mechanic coming, and then
Yeah.
when it leaks, everyone talks about it. It's not like
Yeah.
yeah, it's not only SC leaks. Like they throw it and then everyone gets it on their Discord, and then you'll
Totally.
see Gamer and Super Meg Brother Ryan, and then
Yep.
everyone's chat in Discord, and then everyone's gonna have an
Yep.
opinion and whatnot. It definitely creates a hype. So what I think the best way for them to do, or what I would expect them to do, I don't want to say like, hey, CG should do this or that. No, but they can go three ways from here. One is debating until the time that it gets old and just let it go and never
Yeah,
allow anything to leak, which would be kind of cool. They could, maybe it's not the debate. That's the other way, where maybe, but I don't think so. I think it was.
okay, I can comment on that a little bit as for why I think so, but
Sure, but
yeah,
like
keep going.
hypothetically, it could not be
Yeah,
like And then the
yes, yeah,
third one which could be interesting, is like debate sometimes, and then sometimes let leaks happen, which
true.
is then it's interesting. But then they're giving too
Yes,
much credit to something that, in my opinion, should not exist. Like, I don't mind being spoiled. I don't think I can be spoiled for an
yeah,
alpha MMO anyways. I'm
exactly,
exactly
yeah,
right. But
yeah,
I think I don't like I don't think it's healthy the way it happens, and I think CIG should bring the information first, because people are believing more to these like leaks than CIG itself, which is kind of
totally.
sad in a way.
Which is why I think that they're making a point by like, which is why I think that it wouldn't be
Something has to
surprising
change,
to
right?
me anyways
Mm.
if they started kind of throwing these out there, these deliberate misdirects, just to show how easy it would be to make it so that these leaks are completely inaccurate.
Do you think it would prevent people from, like, if it happens like 10 times in a row, would they still try to get the leaks or not?
I don't know. That's kind of tough to say.
Yeah,
Could go either way,
true. Um,
but
there was a really cool thing back to Daymar rally where someone from the commentators said, imagine if DIG did not say anything, and out of nowhere, here on Daymar, a fucking sand word appears and eats the freaking dragonfly or something, and everyone would lose their shit, dude. Like
yeah,
imagine, and CIG could do something like that. We know, because at the end of the race, there was a perfectly functional Idris, which I still think Xylo's alt was flying or something like that. I don't
possibly,
know,
yeah, yeah,
because he was not crashing the server or anything like that. And CIG knows this, and they could do something like that. But then when someone mentioned it, the first thing that I had on my mind was like, no fucking way, because this is why we can't have nice things, because someone's gonna dig through the files, literally,
well,
right?
no. See, and this, okay, yes. If they like, if they, if CIG was quote unquote dumb enough to put it in the game files as like, oh my god, sandworm lol, Daymar rally, you know, then yeah, okay,
I'm sure they
that could
had
be
leaks
leaks,
that they
you
didn't
know,
want to
but
happen.
if they really wanted to hide a file in there, it really wouldn't be difficult.
I guess.
Like all they'd have to do is make it a string of numbers and letters, you know, and the chances of it being scraped or at least flagged as something noteworthy decreases dramatically, at least as far as I'm
True.
aware. Um,
Well, I don't know how the whole
so
process works now, but
or it could even be something that they put in last minute too, or in the case
but then
where
they
if
can't even, like, they can't test it, right, in any way.
true. Okay, now here's my other kind of like statement for that is that if before server meshing, we're reliant on CIG's 50-person game servers, right? So long as that continues, CIG essentially could not release a public build and could be running Daymar Rally on a specific server with a specific patch that they'd pre-tested. You know,
But they're not doing that, though, because, well, I mean, we
no,
had
not yet.
30Ks, like some of the divisions
Sure.
were just Meyer died due to 30K,
Yep.
so
Yep. And that, yeah, sure. But like what I'm saying is, for example, like next
it's
year,
possible, I guess. Yeah.
if they're running on dedicated servers, like how do you can't scrape that data because you don't have access to that.
It's kind
So
of
I don't know.
cool,
I feel like there are ways that they could do it if they really wanted to.
but
But
digging
again,
for sandworms kind of sounds good.
to be clear, sandworms aren't on Daymar. sandworms are on Lear, somewhere in the
Fair.
Lear system.
You
3, I think.
explained this to me, but
Yeah,
I have a counter to that easily because Dalamar is not in Stanton, but now it is because it's the test bed, right? So they can
sure.
have a sandworm on Daymar, and then move it to Lear once we have Lear, right? So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
could see it, and it would be cool, dude.
It would be epic. Yes.
Because
Yeah. Even if it weren't canon, even if it only appeared that one time,
yes,
dude, that's awesome.
yes,
Let's be honest.
and there's
As
something
overdone
about
as
there's this phenomenon like Daymar is after PO. I feel like that's the most visited location in general.
it is. It
I don't know
is.
what's the reason, but I just feel comfortable going there as well.
I love Daymar.
It's
You
not the
know, I'm not
content; it just happens like that. I don't know. People just
yeah,
prefer it.
dense atmosphere, so it's good for low flying.
Mm.
Low gravity, so it's, easier on the fuel and stuff like that. Stunning vistas, because like the desert, kind of like the way that they've done all the planet tech for the
It looks
desert,
good.
it looks
I
so
don't
good.
like desert, and I still feel
No, I
comfortable
don't
there.
either.
Yeah,
Totally, yeah,
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. Yeah,
They did
I'm
something
I'm not.
amazing there. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Especially now with canyons and everything. Holy shit, it looks good.
yeah. Like if I'm thinking like, oh, I want to go low flying, Daymar is my first go to.
True.
Um,
Also, Star Wars,
that's not Star Wars for me. Maybe it
Whatever.
is. I'm sure it probably is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not Tatooine for me. For me, it's just like I said, a dense atmosphere makes it good for low flying because like your lifting surfaces work really well. It's like you said, those canyons. So like it's for me, like yeah, like when I think low flying, the first place I think of is Daymar. Second place I think of is maybe Microtech because that's
Ah,
also stunning.
beautiful, dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
Except for the
but
storms are annoying, but
Daymar is way more accessible.
yeah. And then the temperatures
Than,
are not that crazy, right? I mean, they get extremely hot,
yeah.
but like they're not. You have clothes for that. You can like survive and whatnot. Yeah, it's cool.
Mhm.
I don't know. You can mine there as well, and
Yeah, yeah, good
oh, it
mining,
also
good mining
has a
there.
lot of stations there. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah. So
places to spawn stuff.
you can QT a lot of
True.
different places around there, whereas
Which
like some of the other moons only have two around Hurston,
true.
which makes it really difficult to access other parts of the moons without a long trip.
And day night cycle. So this allows you to always be in the daylight, for example,
True. Yeah.
right? If you're
Yeah.
flying.
Without having to like manually fly your ass around the planet
I
to
guess
a
it makes
daylight.
sense in the end.
Yeah.
But
This
yeah,
isn't really. I'm totally tangenting here,
I don't care.
but I I hope that eventually we can't QT everywhere on these moons. I hope that like when the game is solid enough that you can actually be playing for hours at a time, I hope that you do actually have to take a little bit more time to fly some places. This may be a controversial thing that I'm saying, but
I want to do
yeah,
this test because when I started playing the game, I was told that the actual size of planets and moons is 1/4 of
one
realistic
tenth.
ones. See, I got the different information. To me, like I actually feel like I can fly around some of them. For sure, I can fly around in like relatively normal amount of time around Delamar, and I'm pretty sure I can fly around, for example, Daymar in like a
Yeah,
couple of
yeah.
hours.
The moons you can for sure.
Because when I get a mission that is on their side, it's like 1,000 kilometers or something. That's not that crazy, right?
Well, like I feel like right now, just with the state of the game, I'm glad that you can QT everywhere because like how many times do you go to do something and something bugs out or you
No, I
die for
agree. I
some
agree.
random bug reason and you need to kind of get back there. But like I'm I guess this probably actually belongs more in the imagine section
Yeah.
later on. But
No,
yeah,
but
I just think
I
eventually,
like your idea because it
yeah,
brings more immersion. That's what I was saying.
makes
Like I was saying,
makes
like
things feel bigger,
true,
like
exactly. It's like mounts in World of Warcraft. I don't like bringing other games into it, but like when flying mounts appeared, the world became smaller,
Much
and
smaller, yeah.
yeah, and I want cargo missions where we talked about this, and I talked about this with Salty Mike and whatnot. I want to fly in this game because I just feel like it's a jump, like QT simulator a lot of times, and
Yeah.
flying is cool. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's the sim part of the space sim.
Yeah. And
You
people
know,
tell you
like
can do it, like you can do it, like if you want to. And I do. I make my like I do a delivery mission with Argo
yeah,
Cargo
but
because
that's
it
the
doesn't have
thing.
quantum drive. But you have to make yourself. There's no
You
reason
have to make yourself do that, and that's a problem long
to.
term. Right
Yeah,
now, I'm
it's
glad
okay.
things are the way they are. Like I said, just because like the gameplay isn't necessarily there to support even longer travel times. But yeah. Anyways,
You know what would be
totally
nice
tangenting.
if someone actually made a statement at some point that that will be a thing or not. I'd like to know some of these things. Like, obviously, what's the idea? The ideas can change
Yeah.
for sure. The
Well,
gaming
like
development.
I think Dual Universe is one of the is a game out there that shows that you can have really long travel times and still have the game be fun and have a lot of people playing it.
Sure.
Because like Dual Universe, man, if you want to go from one planet to another,
Holy
you're looking
shit!
at like
You
hours.
got prep
Like
food, baby.
yeah, like I think that that's maybe too far, to be honest, because like literally
Ah,
all I do when I want to skip from one planet to another is I just like accelerate up to cruise speed, set a timer, and then come back in 2 hours when it's time to start decelerating.
yeah, but it
You know,
prevents you from going there back and forth a lot.
it does. It
Which
does make
make
things feel
which makes
big.
you think, which also makes you like prep properly
Yes.
for your journey, which
Yeah.
makes it more of a livable environment and believable environment, more immersive. Because if I go from Serbia to Canada now, I have to prep myself, right? And I
Yes.
can't just
Yeah.
go back home, and if I forgot something, I'll have to buy it or whatever, for more money. It's kind
Yeah.
of, I like that part of Dual Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's a good
I
thing.
basically I hope that Star Citizen ends up somewhere in between that, where like
Fair enough.
if you want to fly around these environments, well, you're gonna have to actually yeah, it's exactly that. I just want to fly more, you know what I mean? Like I want to, and I don't want it to be like something that I'm doing just to RP. I want
Yeah,
it to be
I
part of
need
the
a
game,
reason.
because at the end of the day there's a sim side of this space sim, and I feel like there's a good balance somewhere in there between like keeping it accessible and fun and a game, while also kind of like having some of those sim elements to just increase that immersion and increase, the how large the universe feels. But
I
that's
agree.
not on this list at all. I just totally went off the rails there.
That's
But
okay. I don't
yeah.
mind. Okay, what? That's it for the news. There was nothing really crazy, happening except for Daimar. So yeah, we can get to the next one.
What's the people spawning
That
destroyed?
that's what I'm going to talk about, like what I did in game, because someone had an
Oh,
issue
okay.
in game.
Okay.
What it is.
Okay. Okay,
So
go.
so what did you have you done anything in the game? Have you played this week?
I did play this week. The hot fix broke a bunch of shit for me. Um, the original, I don't know, 312 patch or something like that felt like after a couple weeks where things had settled down, like it felt pretty playable to me. And then this latest hot fix that they put out, man, just like killed my stability, killed my frame rate. Desync is even worse. Um, so yeah, like I've played a bit this week, just kind of messing around, but I haven't this latest edition has been really tough for me to try to play more than just like going out mining for a bit, coming back, you know,
Hmm.
doing some bounty hunter missions, which with the added desync or the extreme desync is not super fun, you know. But yeah, so no, I didn't do a lot this week. I hopped on a couple times, played a little bit,
I saw
but
you online. couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty rough. I've been having a hard time with it. I want to play more, like, like the
I know,
desire to play
right?
Star Citizen is there, but then I show up and it just is ugh, like
Rough.
the game is in it's in such a rough state that it's like it's pretty
Yeah.
hard to play that while I'm, like I have a couple other games that are in much more of a finished state that I've, you know,
Yep.
could go and play right now, like there's literally like okay, so like I've been kind of holding off finishing Cyberpunk, for example, like trying to do all the side missions and stuff like that because the side missions actually do add a lot to the story and just to the world, which is cool. And instead I was like, I'm gonna go on Star Citizen, like I know I've got a couple refinery jobs waiting for me, so maybe I'll just do that, and I did that, and like it just took me so long to get, like a couple things from a refinery to a place where I could sell them. And
Well, there was an
I
issue
ended up,
with that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it worked. It just took a long time, and I just remembered like eventually after I was done playing, and had to go do something else, signing off and being like, why did I do that? Like I should have played Cyberpunk. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
like it wasn't enjoyable. It was
Hmm.
like essentially a waste of time, and it wasn't very enjoyable. So like that's kind of that's a first for me
You,
actually. I think it's
you need to
like
make a reason now to play the game currently. The
yeah,
game itself will not, less than ever, I think, will not give you a reason.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah, and
know
that's
I
rough. Like I
stream it.
went on there with a specific thing that I wanted to do,
Mm.
Go maybe do a load on of mining. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Man, like I don't know what was going on, but tried a couple different servers and like fly my prospector down to a rock, try to crack it. The initial rock would crack, and then the mining laser just wouldn't work on any of the smaller pieces. Like I could go like full power with a helix into one of the smaller rocks that had fractured off, sit there with the laser on there for minutes and nothing would happen. Like in that, that was
On
part of
the
that.
planetary surface, or
I was on a planetary service, yeah. And like multiple I'd go to different rocks, same thing. You could crack the initial ones, couldn't pull anything out of it, couldn't any of the smaller chunks that were actually harvestable didn't work. Tried a couple different servers. That was part of the session where I was talking about where
mm,
I went on there, spent like I don't know, probably a couple hours just trying to do stuff and nothing was working, and yeah, that was rough, man. I just was like, ugh, why did I should have gone and played a different game. Like I knew I had limited time to play and I spent it doing this, like playing a game that was really frustrating. So that was kind of a bummer.
yeah. Well, I mean, I play it, but I play it every day almost because I stream it.
Yeah.
But I this week as well. There's gonna be very negative beginning of the stream, but I did end some of my streams or just switch to another game because I was frustrated as well this week.
I
But
noticed that actually.
yeah, but the thing is, I really want to fucking play. Like I feel like
Yeah.
playing a lot today. Before
Yeah.
we did this, I actually, when you contacted me today, I was in my hawk doing the bounty hunting missions. Um, there are some things that are very frustrating currently in the game. Okay, so I play on two accounts, and my alt account where I have nothing. I actually purchased my first ship on my alt account, like in game, and I am not now in the Avenger Titan. And I decided that long time ago that this account will be like unlawful gameplay for me because I want to scratch that as well. And what I have to report is a complete and utter bullshit. So the way I play this, I will always start my stream with that account until I end up in the jail, because every time I end up in the jail, I have like 13 plus hours. So I can either escape or sit there, because if I go mining, it doesn't work. You can't give in. So
Yeah.
the consoles are not working. So I
Oh,
go.
that's still a bug, hey? Brutal.
That's really because if I didn't have another account, what the fuck am I going to do? You know. So I got the
You
mission
both have
once,
4.
and this was amazing. Do you know there's missions like in the prison?
Yes, but I haven't actually got to play them.
I finally got it, and it was fun. It said I need to repair an oxygen dispenser in whatever, like lane 3 sector 9, whatever. And I did not even know that there are like 3 different ways when you go into the mines. There's
Mhm.
actually 3 different ways. I thought there's only one. So I had to go to the third one and then go all the way to the 9th sector or whatever level and fix it there. And it gave me 10,000 merits, which I don't know how much that is. So the problem
I wish I
is,
could tell you how much that is, but that was
yeah,
my experience in prison too, where like I went to prison, tried to mine my way out,
mm,
couldn't,
yeah.
and then Alt F4 in frustration.
The problem with this is I got this mission the day after I ended up in prison. So when I was about to leave, because
Right.
so
Yeah.
I made a mistake, which like just mistake for those who know what they're doing. Where I got my 10,000 merits. I was like, okay, cool. When I end up in prison half an hour again, I'm gonna see how much worth it is. Well, when you get back in prison, your merits are gone. So you can't
Well,
like. So what you need to do is like when you get your
oh, that's right.
merits,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
send it to another character,
Yes, yeah. And then you
right?
send them back.
Come
Yeah.
on, man. Like, that's
Yeah. Frankly,
that's crazy.
yeah, that's another
Unfortunately, I think it's better if you didn't have a prison right now.
this was my point when prisons first rolled out in 3.9. I was
Oh, I
on
was
captain's
so
table
happy.
and I said exactly this. I said this is great in concept, but none of it's going to work. And so,
I was very
like
hopeful.
yeah.
The other downside, like prisons being crappy, is not news to anyone who actually
No.
ended up there. But there's
But
other bad part of like unlawful gameplay right now. It's just you can't do it. Okay, so what I was like, sure, I have 2 accounts, so I don't care, right? So what I would do is I would start doing the missions, the unlawful missions. So you get like bounty hunting, but like the opposite of bounty hunting. So first thing, when you're bounty hunting,
assassination, I think it's
you
called.
what? Sorry,
Assassination, I think it's called. If
I
it's the
don't.
illegal side of
It's like it's very strange. So oh my god, there's so many things about this. Like first of all, you don't have equivalent to call to arms, so that's like
yes, yeah,
negative. Then you only kill white targets, so either civilian or UE, right? You get more rewards, but it's like instead of getting 1150, you'll get like 13 or something like that K. So it's not like really it's not like risk reward, because you're gonna end up in a fucking prison after like the first one you do, it's
yeah,
crime stat level 3 immediately. Like that's it. And if you hit someone else because the reinforcements come back, it's 4. Like usually you're gonna end up with 4 like after the first one, which means
yep,
immediately when this happens, I'm so glad I actually tested this because now I know how it works. Immediately when this happens, everything you get in your missions disappears, and you
yeah,
only get private missions because of the um reputation system, right?
yeah,
Now, as the more you kill, the better the missions get, but it's like I didn't get to like if I'm doing bounty hunting missions, I have 17,000 per mission, 7.5 plus reputation, whatever. I was not getting that good of emissions, but because you can't like kill that many, and I would be attacked by, especially when I was playing like Aurora or Mustang. I remember, a warden, player warden would appear, and
yeah. Game over.
I can't really, on an alt account, I can't hold my ground. I almost killed a warden in the Titan. I'm not sure if we
Yeah, that makes
killed each
sense.
other. I'm not fucking sure, but it was a long. That's the best part of it because people will come to you and you will experience brawling, which is kind of cool. And
Yeah,
brawling not as with a friend where you're like YOLO, but you actually want to survive because you don't want to go back to the prison.
yeah,
But it's hard because people can buy any ship and come and like fuck you up like in matter of minutes. So it's hard to survive that. Um, Now here's another problem. So I do a couple of missions, I get some money, like 100K or whatever, and I will end up in prison. So and then I will serve my sentence and come and log in tomorrow. Get out of jail.
That's such a problem though. It's a problem that the only way you can play an outlaw is to just resign yourself to the fact that at some point you're just going to have to log off
Yeah.
because you're going to go to jail.
Unless you have friends to pick you up.
No, even if you do have friends, like the chances of them actually pulling that off
Mm,
and getting you to a point where you can wipe your crime stat, one, it's a huge pain in the ass,
well, it works,
and
but it
two,
works. But then for how
yeah,
long? You go and do next mission and you're back in
exactly,
the chain, right? So it doesn't work.
exactly.
So the
And
group
the
of
amount of
the friendos
coordination,
that we talked
yeah.
about, so Zoli and Chrono and they're like Fox and they're these guys that I brought back into the game, they pulled it off a couple of times. So it's doable and they're brand new players. But then that's okay when it happens that you end up in jail for a certain, thing that you did. But what if you want to play unlawful gameplay? You just
Yeah.
can't. So I'm going to call
Well,
someone like
not
every 20 minutes to
not
pick
in
me up?
not in Stanton. Not in Stanton you can. And I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
like that is the one redeeming factor, in my opinion, is that prison gameplay the way it is right now is not supposed to be something that is as common as it is. Because ultimately, if you're trying to play outlaw gameplay, you would not stay in a system like Stanton,
Well,
especially if you're a
okay,
lowbie.
sure. I agree 100%. But why does unlawful gameplay exist then? Just turn it off
That's
for now.
that, that's kind of it. Like that's
Like
basically my
punishment
opinion
should
about.
exist, right? Because
Sure,
anyone can
but
kill anyone. But don't give me missions that will immediately send me to a fucking prison without. By the way, these are personal missions, so only us
yeah.
experienced players will know that you're not supposed to do that. If you're a
Oh,
new
absolutely.
player, you get the
Yeah.
mission. You go to a place, a white ship spawns. Like, what the fuck the white ship means? Like, so it's not going to attack you, and then it becomes a target. Like, it shows you that that's your target. Are you
Yep.
going to kill it because that's how you
Yep.
make money? You're in prison. You know what
That's
the fuck
precisely
happened, right?
exactly. Yeah. Like my brother again, like he was new, did exactly what you just said. Didn't realize that personal meant illegal. Took a personal mission, got
Oh, not
himself,
all of them are
a
illegal,
huge
by the
crime
way.
stat, and ended up in jail. And then figured out that he can't even get out of jail because the game loops in there that are supposed to let you get out of jail don't work.
Yeah,
So,
and
he was
and
just like, what the fuck is this? Like,
not all of
you
them are
know,
legal, by the way. So the Kovalex
no.
mission, that is a beautiful one. Have you done that? Where
Yeah.
you go the lost package or
Yes.
whatever. That one
Yeah.
is not illegal, but that's in private as well. So you can't even tell someone, well, private message is just illegal. Okay, so the final rant about this, because and mind it, I want to play outlaw gameplay as well. I
Sure.
like it, so that's why I'm
And to
talking
be
about all this.
clear,
Like, this is
I'm
not
not
hate.
against no. And to be clear from my perspective, I'm not opposed to prisons. I'm
Me
just opposed
neither.
to prisons that don't work.
Sure, sure, sure. I mean, there's an argument that
Still,
it's alpha, but right now it's very punishing to like crazy point.
totally. And we're almost a year after they were implemented.
I would just say just turn off the unlawful stuff now and
Yeah.
send people who
Or
are griefing to
something.
prisons, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's a question for you. So I've built up unlawful reputation. I've been to prison 10 times in a couple of days, and I came out of prison for the 10th time. And what is my reputation now? What would you think? I just came out of prison.
You'd think that, and actually, they've said that in the long term, they want prison to be a bonus to reputation for illegal play. But I'm going to guess that that isn't the way it worked this time, and that you came out with no illegal reputation, and also no good reputation. So you couldn't take good missions, and
No.
also you couldn't take the high-end illegal
That
missions.
would make more sense to me because it would like reset you because you've served your sentence. What happens is you don't have illegal reputation, so you can't get an illegal mission, right? Except for the starter one. Your legal, lawful reputation is as high as it was before you started. So let's say you're doing 17,000 missions, which is like the highest ones for like lawful side, and then you end up in prison, you get out of prison, you can continue doing this without like there's no drop in reputation. However, if you fail the fucking mission as a lawful player, just don't kill your target, you lose reputation. So ending up in jail is better than failing one fucking mission as a lawful player.
You mean an unlawful player?
No, 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 no.
Okay, I don't understand this. Then
Sorry, I
re-explain
might
that.
have, yeah, I got carried away. This pisses me off. So let's say you are a lawful player and you made it to a point where you're making 17.5k per
Right.
mission,
Yep.
and you failed 3 missions in a row because server crashed, you
Yep.
couldn't kill it, whatever, someone else
Yep.
showed up, killed you. You're losing that reputation. You're gonna get back to like the
Okay.
lower one, you have
Yes.
to pay
Good.
again and all that, right? However, if you all of a sudden decide to take an unlawful mission at that state of lawful gameplay and kill like bunch of UE shit, end up in jail, and come back, you do not lose any reputation, like lawful reputation.
Oh, holy shit! Really?
Yes. Tested
Okay.
multiple
Okay.
times. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, this is just so bad. Like, it makes no fucking sense at all.
No, you're like a bounty hunter, literally working for the police. You go to
Exactly.
jail, serve hard time because you went on a murder spree, and then get
Everyone
out of jail
forgot
and
after 13
hop right
hours,
back into hop right back into working for the police.
That's crazy. So I did
Okay.
that. I did some mining. I'm not gonna go over that. It just didn't work for me properly. For both ROC and Prospector. I just no matter how much I try, I just can't fucking enjoy that.
That's fair enough.
And
I don't like rock mining that much. I find it really tedious, but I do like prospector mining. I find it pretty chill.
yeah, I don't know.
Kind of what I want to do when I just want to like chill out and still kind of make decent money.
I want to enjoy
Yeah.
it, but it just doesn't
Yeah.
work. I don't know because
No,
I like
it's
mining in
personal
Eve.
choice.
I don't mind, but like here,
Yeah,
it just
it's personal taste. You're gonna like some things, you're not gonna like
true.
some things.
But the
That's just the way
problem
it
with
is.
Star Citizen is like if you can't enjoy mining, you're kind of fucked because of how much love mining gets, which I
Well,
personally have nothing against.
for
Because
now,
well, exactly,
yeah,
and that's the bad for like future like professions. I'm sure they're like cross. You know, like what I mean. Like I don't mind
yeah.
it, but it's like if you can't enjoy that, it's kind of so I want to enjoy it, but it just doesn't work for me.
Mhm.
And then there's some issues with it as well, but whatever. Um, the other thing is that's what so one of my community members or whatever, I don't want to, friends technically nowadays, he got a lot of ships by doing bounty hunting missions and whatnot, but one of his favorite ships is Cutlass Black. He's very wrong, but it's okay. And he had like
Let's not
all
start this again.
he got all the weapons and shields and everything on it, jump drive, all that.
Mhm.
And then this is crazy. I've never seen this before. If you did, tell me. He was watching my stream and he was approaching the station, forgot the cruise control. It happens to all of us, right? And he exploded there at the station where he was supposed to land, right? So he
Mhm.
spawned in that station and retrieved Cutlass Black. And he went to the hangar, sorry, to the pad.
Oh.
And on the pad, right there, the blown up Cutlass Black, sorry. Like the
Huh.
completely blown up version of it. So he was trying to explain this to me, and I was like, wait, you mean you can't claim it? Or no, he was like, no, dude, it spawns there. Like I can see it. I go use the elevator, go to the pad, and I'm like, wait, is it like damaged? Can you get in and repair it? He's like, he got irritated because I could not understand this. Like this never happened to me. Then he shared a screenshot with me, and which I can put in the description as well. And there's this like blown up shell of a fucking Cutlass Black. Like you can't interact with it, and
I
he
mean, I've
can't
seen.
claim it. He can't do anything.
Can you claim it from a different
We
station?
tried. No, he
Count
can
reset.
he can claim it. Well, he did. He reset, and then that led to a bunch of other issues that he missed
Of course.
components. He missed like
Yep.
right?
That'll do it.
But yeah, I don't know if this ever happened to you or anyone else who is listening / watching.
Sort of. I've had ships just spawn with no
Destroyed?
components in them.
Okay, but destroyed.
Basically
You
destroyed.
gotta
Like you
see
can get
this.
in like the if you're looking at the ship screen, it shows the components are in there. It shows, but then you spawn it, there's no engines, the ship doesn't turn on. Like you can sit in the seat, but nothing happens.
Oh, okay,
Um,
so you could interact with like the ramp or whatever. The
Yep. Yeah, you can
canopy.
open it. It's not like it's not exactly
Yeah,
like
yeah,
him where
yeah.
it's
Okay.
literally the destroyed husk, but I've had issues like this before, and this has something to do with the persistence.
Man, I just couldn't imagine this, and he was so frustrated. He was like, "Can I share my screen?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm streaming, dude. I can't watch your stream while I'm streaming. Can you do a screenshot?" And he sends a screenshot, and I look at it. I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
Wait, this is
This
what
is
you
this is
spawned?"
this is
Like,
more persistence bugs, and this is the stuff that we've been seeing kind of rearing its ugly head again. Like this used to be
crap.
really prevalent, you know,
Before
really
3.8?
prevalent before 3.8
Okay.
and a little bit during 3.8 and stuff like that. And the only solution was an account reset, and there was no guarantee that it wouldn't just immediately happen again. So it
That's rough.
sucks. It sucks to see this happening again because pretty much from 3.8 onwards, I don't think there's been any
I
real
haven't seen
instances
this
of that
ever.
happening. But it used to happen to my Cutlass all the time. Shut up! It's not Drake's fault.
No,
But
this is very big issue. Also, another big issue is that on my alt account, it would happen that I have to reset my account because I can't
yeah,
spawn my only ship,
yep,
and that's
this is
big
this
bonkers
is
for new players.
3.12, man. Like that's been like the ship spawning issues is one of my primary issues I'm having with this game, and like I'm lucky. I have a lot of ships,
Same, I don't
but
give a shit. You know?
like man, like
If
yeah,
you
like
have
they're
one ship, you're fucked. Like you
you're
can't play the game.
fucked.
That's it.
Yep. And then you'll account reset, and that will either work for a little bit and then it'll happen again, or it won't work at all, or it'll work and it'll fuck things up, like you said, where he lost all his components and stuff like that. Like this is ugly. It's an ugly bug, and it sucks that this is happening because it is so frustrating, and
People can't experience the game at all because
you
of this.
can't. And I mean,
That
we'll
hurts the game
jump
for
into
sure.
this. We'll jump into this later on in the show where we're going to talk about like in Stanton gossip, where we were going to talk about
True.
like is it right to market this game right now to new players in the state
The
that it's
way,
in,
yeah, the way
you
people
know,
do.
or the way people do, yeah, the way content creators kind of hype it up, and it's rough, man. Like this 3.12 specifically, while there are a lot of people who are having a stable,
Which I'm
mostly
happy
okay
for.
time, totally, I'm glad. But there is, it seems like, at least anecdotally, a larger subset of the population these days, which is
The louder,
not able
maybe?
to play.
Probably
And
louder. It's kind of
yeah,
funny. I had this issue before where
you had this issue for the last like 3 patches where you were just, or
true,
not this issue specifically, but just something that was game breaking and you couldn't even play. And you're experienced, you know how to work around, you have lots of different ships, like,
but I've learned my
dude,
lesson. A couple of patches ago, there was a I don't remember. Fuck, I don't remember the name of the channel, but there was a channel that I was watching constantly on YouTube. I will remember. And we'll talk about them next week because it feels disrespectful, but there's a reason. I just can't. Anyways, so they were having a lot of issues. I think it was 310, and it was the smoothest patch for me. Like I had
Hmm.
no issues at all. That's when I bought Retaliator, I bought 85X, I bought Argo Cargo. It was a smooth sail, dude. I enjoyed the game so much. And I was streaming it. So it was all fun. And then I watched this channel that they were so negative that I couldn't watch them anymore. And I even commented and they commented back, and now I see they were correct. But from that
Yeah.
perspective, I could understand that not everyone is having the same experience.
Yeah.
And they
Well, and
really
that's
had a bunch of 30Ks. And now I am, for the last two patches, at least, I am having really rough time. Where I have to end my stream because I get so frustrated. Like I get 5 30Ks in an hour.
yep.
Like there's
And
nothing I can do.
this is something I will say about the community in general. And this is because I see this everywhere. Somebody will be having an issue, they're frustrated, and they're maybe posting a little bit, like aggressively in discords or in various social media groups. And people who are having a solid experience will just shut them down and kind of be shitty to them. And this is something that, like, guys, we got to stop doing that. Like it's, somebody's frustrated, they're having a situation where they cannot get the game working, and it's not just because they're noobs, and it's not because they don't know the
No.
workarounds. It's because,
These
like,
guys are very
this
experienced, by the way. Yeah.
and the experience is so different from one subset of the players to another. And the last thing, the thing that it's not helpful at all to be shitty with those people who are having a rough time. And I constantly see this with, like, somebody, like I said, maybe posting frustrated, coming across as a little aggressive, and the comments are just filled with, like, well, it's fine for me, like,
True.
rah, 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 just like kind of like putting
But
it back on these people who are having the issues, like they're stupid or something, and not helpful. Like,
okay,
this
but let me
game.
give you the other side, okay?
Okay.
Because I agree with you, especially from this perspective and why I am having a rough time. And if I didn't have this experience before, I would be like that. I would be like, oh man, fucking patch. But here's the thing: when I was having a good time and I'm watching this solid, like big content creator for Star Citizen, community, being constantly negative about the patch where I'm having fun and be like, fucking patch, I can't wait for them to fix it. And they're like really laughing at the patch and the CIG for like being, oh, you're saying you fixed this? Haha, look at, and then they show like, issues and whatnot. And
Mhm.
that's like someone literally jumping on your sandcastle in a way and pissing on top of it when you're having fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is your
Yeah.
best experience ever, and the big content creators are trying to destroy your experience in a way. And because they're right because there's people who are not having good experience and it should be changed. But I
Sure.
see why people kind of also I see like both sides now.
Right.
I've
Okay.
experienced
I,
both
I
sides. You know what I
I
mean?
see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming
Yeah.
from. Yeah.
Like I guess in the end, no one should be extreme in what they do.
Just
Like
just exercise some empathy, but
I can
yeah, no,
say
like
like I'm
I
having
see.
better experience. Sorry about what you're having, guys. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I see where you're coming from, though. Like, just because they're having a bad time doesn't give them the right to behave in a way that basically shits on everybody who is having a good time.
But that's almost what like we are not doing it that way, right? I'm
Yeah.
always happy for people who are having good time. And I watch some streams and I'm like, holy shit, look at this guy. I've been watching a stream a couple of days ago for over 6 hours. Not a single 30K. No
Yep.
desync, nothing. I was like, dude,
Whoa, how do you not have desync? Jesus, I
it
want
happens.
to
I
play the game
told you
this
it
guy's
happened to
playing.
me. Yeah, it's like almost like you get on their server or something. Like I told you I had this experience as well.
Definitely
Where I would
varies from server to server.
Yes.
Definitely.
And it's extremely rare, but I get the bounty hunting mission, I fly in, all the ships are there. Like 5 ships. I kill the main target and I decide if I want to fight the others or not, jump out, jump to the next one. All the ships are there. It's like it's amazing. And you're like, holy
Hmm.
shit, I want to play this game? And then
Yeah.
the server crashes and you go to the next one and you go to the bounty hunting mission and you're like, Okay, it's been 4 minutes. Nothing has spawned yet, you know.
Whoa. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to like. This is not really against CIG or anything. It's just like how the experience can vary from player to player. And unfortunately, I mean, or fortunately, that's something that we have to, I don't know, accept. Which is why a lot of
Yes.
Star Citizen players are enjoying Cyberpunk with no issues.
Yeah. Or relatively minimal
Yeah.
issues comparatively. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're done with this.
Y- I don't know. Good conversations.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. All right.
Hey, you
So
remember you remember how like before we started I was like, "Oh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to
I told you it's gonna be a long
to,
one.
to make
We're
this
like
show
an
go
hour
for like
in. We did not even
yeah.
start with the topics. So yeah.
Yeah.
We're good, we're good. Um
Buckle up, boys.
you're in for a long ride.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. I was very negative, kind of, but now I am going to be on the other side, not only against you, but the reason I'm bringing the next topic up is because of some of my favorite content creators. Yes, Mr. Salty Mike and some others are bashing on an idea of mine laying and Nautilus in this game. And just to preface this a little bit, I was never like super excited or interested in this ship, except for like really has a ship shape design that appeals to me. I like the way it looks. Which
Yeah, it does look really cool.
I mean, it's not very important if I like it or not visually, but I do. But other than that, I was never like interested really in this gameplay mechanic. But I do see how important and valuable, in my opinion, it is. And the reason I brought this up is because people are complaining, certain people are complaining about them wasting time into development of ships whose mechanics are completely irrelevant in the game such as Star Citizen, and kind of laughing at CAG for developing something that the truth is they probably just don't see what this might bring into the game.
Okay, well
Regardless
that's
if you
fair.
like it or not, right? Like you
Yeah.
might not like what it brings to the game, sure. But I see a lot of potential. This made me, I was literally swearing at my monitor
That
multiple
happens to me a
times.
lot.
Yeah, when Mike was like trash talking Nautilus. And I'm like, bro, are you crazy? Dude, no! There's a reason for this and whatnot, right? So for those who don't know, Nautilus is RSI or Aegis?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Let me just check.
I don't think it's RSI. I could be wrong.
It is kind
Fuck,
of
I don't know.
squarey.
I want to say Aegis. Aegis Nautilus.
It makes sense that it's Aegis. Let me see. Yes, it's Aegis. Aegis Dynamics Nautilus is a multi-crew ship. It's kind of on a bigger side. Like it's not a small ship at all. Has interior and all that.
What long? How long is it? 150 meters, something like that.
I don't know, but it's like bulk, like you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I want to bring up. Sure, good. Anyways, it has like the gimmick of this ship is mine laying and disarming mines in space. Um, it's not out, but it does exist as a concept. You could buy it if I'm not wrong. As a JPEG, right?
Yeah, as a JPEG. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm not like some of these things happened before I started playing. So, it has a really fucking cool brochure on the other side, but not every ship has it, but this one does. Um, okay, so it's the idea, the gameplay behind this is setting up the traps, kind of mine laying, and you know what? Do you want to start with your reason why mine laying in big space is not a good idea?
I mean, I guess so, but I just have like I have. Uh, I don't really know how to branch into this other than to say that like while I think that there's validity to what you've been saying about like how it's entirely possible that some people who are uh bashing on mine laying don't see the
Potential.
applications
Yeah.
or the potential, because there's mechanics that they just don't see yet. Okay, there's validity to that. However, I am still kind of the opinion that mine laying in Star Citizen doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but
Like
why?
I will say that I think the Nautilus mine layer and mine laying specifically is a single player mechanic that they're bringing into Squadron 42 and not Star Citizen, because in Squadron 42 things are a little bit more on rails and you can kind of sculpt things around that. But in a giant sandbox universe with quadrillions, literally quadrillions of cubic kilometers, and that's just in this one system, you know, to fly around, applying mines that require you to be within X distance in order to function is kind of nonsensical. Yes, there are choke points, but even those choke points are fucking big. And even if they did make the choke points small enough that mines would be potentially effective, like for example jump points,
Okay,
that
let me
just
give you an example.
ruins gameplay. Like, okay, you come out of a jump point, boom, you get smoked by a mine. That's not fun. That's really shitty.
Okay,
Like
that's shitty, but why would someone blow your ship into pieces for no reason?
you're playing a game on the internet.
Other than that, like, is there an actual
No,
reason for someone? Okay,
that's it.
so
Like how many people? Why would somebody ram you on a landing pad at Port Olisar?
exactly. So that's the
Because people
downside,
do that.
potential stupid downside of the mine laying, which I will agree with if we get an opportunity to do something like that. But my thoughts on this are mines. Like, if I have an option to disable your ship or destroy your ship, except for if I'm like bounty hunting you, or but even then, I want to disable your ship rather than destroy it because I can salvage it, take some cargo out of it, and or whatever.
Or you just want to watch the world burn.
Sure, but like if I personally have an option, I will rather disable your ship. So
Sure, you're
my
not most
thought,
players,
how do you
or at
know?
least not
Well,
players right now.
listen, that's game design. Like if CIG
Yes,
gives you a proper incentive not to kill a player and tools to do that properly, I don't think that will be a case where like why everyone wants better result and better reward if they can do with the same amount of effort. Sometimes you will have a griefer, but griefer will have consequence, right? But if they did it in a proper way, maybe the consequence will not be as big. But this is another thing, right? Because that's a part of the game that we can't not have in an open sandbox space game, right?
sure.
There will be
Okay,
griefing, simply,
but let's
no
say
matter the
this.
tools.
Let's say that it's not a griefer. Let's say that it's just an organization who decides that they want this star system.
Yes.
And so if it's as easy as just dropping a fuck ton of mines in front of in front of the gate, then that's what they're going to do. And then guess what? They own that system, and there's no real way to go in there and actually effectively counter that, because all they have to do is have a couple guys who start their game sessions by flying into a gate and dropping a couple mines, and then taking off. Like I just
You're
think that
getting into imagination station here, kind of.
we're all this whole topic
Because
is imagination
yeah,
station
but
because
like
there's no
you're
mines.
trying to figure out like exact way how the mines are going to work, which I believe in CIG having a vision and the idea of how this can actually be functional. So we don't
Sure,
have webbing right
it'll
now,
be
and
functional in Squadron 42.
I don't see it as a tool. Like if you're playing a single player game, why would you want to use mines? Like there's like
Oh,
for what?
dude, Chris Roberts has used mines in
Oh, okay.
multiple missions in some of his games, and
Okay, fair.
they're basically just to drive mission variety. It's like, oh, we got a fleet coming through here. You got to fly ahead and shoot the mines.
Okay.
Like
Let me let
that.
me
That's why when I saw this ship, I was like, okay, this is for Squadron 42, and it's probably never going to be useful in
let,
uh
let me take over and
Star Citizen.
like give you my perspective. So,
Okay,
which you will disagree with, but that's fine. Maybe someone else would not. I see. First of all, we don't have webbing in the game, and we don't know if we're gonna have something like that. And we will both
true.
agree that we need some kind of crowd control mechanics in order for PvP game to function.
Yeah, you just need
Um,
to be able to slow people down. That's
Slow or
because
disable. Like
yeah,
so we have EMP, but we don't
yep.
have like EMP missiles, which we know that Vanguard, what's the name?
Sentinel,
Sentinel
Sentinel.
should
Yeah,
have an EMP missile, which in my mind makes more sense than EMP like circle around you that disables your own
yeah,
ships as
totally.
well. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um so here's my scenario. Let's say there's two things. Let's say you're a solo Nautilus player that wants some kind of piracy gameplay, outlaw gameplay, and he knows that most of the people in the current iteration of the game will do the Kovalex mission in it's not Korea. What's the name of the Kovalex hub? Whatever, right?
Gundo, I
Gando.
think is what.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. Let's say, and most likely they will do that from Port Olisar. So that way they can sit in Port Olisar and jump straight to Gando and see where they get out. Lay 4 EMP mines or 10. I don't know. These might be expensive like torpedoes. Like we don't like this is where like we don't know. That there's ways to do this properly so where people cannot just mine the whole fucking system. Or they can have a cooldown or something like that, right? And he can have set up a little trap there that will either web or disable someone and then continue to other because it's a multi cruise ship, so he can have like a couple of people to like EVA or whatnot. The other way where I see it like much more useful because it's a big expensive ship, so you probably wouldn't waste that kind of resource on one person is doing a single player mission in a small environment is in the same way we will have highways in jump highways kind of for sure that a lot of plebs potatoes will use. Just like in EVE Online, people jump from gate to gate like morons and get into a fucking bubble, and that's where they lose everything. People who know what they're doing, and you will always have these people who know what they're doing, they will jump to OM and then they will jump from OM and or something else, random spot, and then jump to the gate, and they will avoid the bubble in EVE Online. So what I can see is people knowing the highway and engaging like there's a group of pirates, couple, 5, with one mantis or Cutlass Blue, maybe a Sentinel and the Nautilus, which they will like apply these mines in an area where they will deliberately take your ship out of the quantum jump and stun you slash web you slash EMP whatever the fuck happens with a different kind of mine, and then do whatever the fuck their gameplay is, right? Which will teach us who are not doing it potentially to be more careful because you can lose a lot of shit like that. And then on top of that, we have the choke points. Like the choke points is in like the ones that I said, the jump gates from especially from unlawful systems. Like I can see how UE can have minesweepers at the entrance of the gate of Stanton, but they don't have on the other side where in the pyro. So something like that, where it's also the I forgot again. Aaron Halo. Like there's
yeah,
a gate in and out, maybe multiple
yeah.
gates. Who knows? Like you can have them there. I can see a mining org finding a big, very solid rock of Titanium or something, or like that refreshes itself or something like that. They want to protect that location where chances of someone jumping in are small, but like if someone finds it, there's a mine. So good luck with that, and stuff like that. So for me, 100% I see mine laying as a form of crowd control rather than destructive force. And it brings caution
It
to a player.
it it's supposed to be area denial, and there's a variety of
Right.
problems with this, including the EMP mines. Like, I agree in that there needs to be forms of crowd control in this game. There needs to be ways to slow people down, to stun people, to disable their ships, etc., etc., etc. The problem is that mines, unless you are deploying hundreds and thousands, millions of mines, are not a good way to do that in space, because space, even in Star Citizen, is fucking big. And like, so that's my first thing. It's like, even these choke points are huge, and in order to deploy enough mines, EMP mines, that cast a big enough web to realistically catch somebody in that minefield, it's just not going to happen with what they've described with the Nautilus so far. And with respect to those highways, well, okay, that's all fine and great now, where the planets are static and not orbiting, but the intention is for those planets and everything in the solar system to orbit around the sun.
But wouldn't mines orbit with it?
Possibly, but we don't know. Especially if you're outside of the object container that contains kind of that orbital body. Um,
But you would know that, right?
so for example, like, just basically what you said with, like, okay, so you sit and you have a mantis and you have some mindset. Well, that's great, but you have to time that so well
Have you taken anyone
so that
out of the jump with the mantis? Have you seen it
no.
happen?
And frankly, I've never seen anybody do it
I
successfully,
did it,
because even the mantis with, like its bubble where it can pop, it's not anywhere close to big enough
bro.
to be
It
able to be
is.
realistically effective in this game.
It's really effective, by the way. With I did it.
Not
I did on stream
maybe
many
okay, maybe
times.
right now, but again, like, we're talking about like system orbital bodies here, which are going to be moving, which means that everything is moving. Like, the chances, and what's the range on that? It's like 10 kilometers on. So what's the range on your mines? Like, our mines going to
Well,
activate and
that's another
home?
thing. Exactly. So I don't know, but the mine can have just like missiles have like what heat signature and what's the other one?
Yeah,
Whatever.
but
And then
like,
they
and
activate as they acquire target the same way mines in 2950 can have some kind of sensor that
yeah, I'm sure they will.
they
I'm
will
not saying that
follow.
they're
Like
static. I'm
mines
not
can
saying
be
that they're
exactly,
static,
yeah, they
but
can be homing as well. So
sure, I'm sure they will be, like, but how close do you have to get to that? And that's kind of my point, is
you
like,
don't have to get that close if someone lures you into it.
even luring somebody into it, like, what is the point? Like, why? Like, luring somebody into him, just throw them in a quantum interdiction field and shoot them with distortion weapons until they stop moving. Like the amount of effort involved in that, compared to, like, carefully setting a trap and luring them specifically within tens of kilometers, less probably tens of thousands of meters, or sorry, thousands of meters, near these mines, so that they get interdicted, is, I just think it's just unrealistic to assume that these mines are going to be useful like that. The only thing that these mine layers can do that sounds something that's useful to me is dropping those sentry guns. That's
What you
useful.
don't see something like, okay, what if the mines are the best way to just disable a ship with no damage?
Good luck, man.
Sure,
That's all
it
I
doesn't
gotta
have to be
say is, like,
easy, but think about
especially,
like
like,
a
how many
big
mines
target. Hmm?
how many mines does a Nautilus carry?
I
4?
don't know.
It says in its brochure. It's not a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, sure, but but okay, but I mean, these things can change, right? Like that's where we.
Yeah.
But I'm just hypothetically speaking, like it could be. It's all about them, like what they want you to do with the mine. If they make the mine the most beneficial way to prevent a vehicle from moving or like sucking out electricity from it or fucking God knows, and then you have dead fish in the water with all the cargo and whatnot, why not?
all I'm all I'm gonna say is that I think that if they do end up integrating mines into Star Citizen in such a way that they are useful, they're going to be very, very far departed from what most people think of as mines today, because they're basically going to have to be remotely triggered missiles in order for them to be useful.
Sure, I see them like that. That's exactly how I see them. Not in
And if
shape.
they and if they do that, great. Fine. I guess then they'll work. But the space is just way too big for a static
Okay, listen.
or somewhat static weapon like that to be useful.
Let me explain something. So in EVE Online, it's kind of funky whenever I bring something like this, but it will give you a good point. When you spawn in EVE Online, you're spawned in a high security area where if someone does something bad to you, they suffer, like properly. They will lose their ship in a matter of
Yeah.
seconds because the Navy shows up and blows them up. Unless if you as a new player commit a crime, then that person can kill you right there, even
Mhm.
for no benefit. So what happens is committing a crime is opening a crate that belongs to another player. So what happens is this unlawful player is sitting somewhere and creates a fucking container that in its name has free loot for new players, for example. So what happens
Okay.
is you go there and you open it. The game tells you this is not yours. You still open because you don't know. You open. The moment you open it, you are red. You get
Yeah.
the missile, you're dead. You've lost your ship, you've lost everything. You type an email, or sorry, the ticket to CCP, who are the developers of the game, and you're like, I opened the box and someone killed me and nothing happened. They tell you, get good. Like, that's why I love CCP. Like, they explain to you, they tell you, you opened the box, it is not yours. Everyone is allowed to name their shit any way you want. Piracy is a thing, right? So there will
Yeah.
always be people like this who are clueless. And you know what? Pirates will make money off of these people, and that will make these people better players long run. And this
Sure.
is what makes an interesting space game.
I
I,
guess, but like all the things that you're describing right now seem to me that they're very, very niche applications. And when you're talking about a niche application like this and a very large dedicated mine layer that's required for this niche gameplay, I'll still just say that I don't think that mines are going to get much play in Star Citizen in the current, at least from what we know of mines so far. And that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say this is stupid, don't work on this, because like I said, I mean, like Squadron 42, it's Chris Roberts who's going to have mine gameplay in there guaranteed. Um, but for the amount of effort and the amount of money required to get this ship, to crew it, I just don't think that I think unless there are some really, really mind-blowing, changes to what everybody thinks of as mine
do we have
gameplay,
like solid
I just
explanation
don't
of
see
how
them being
mine
used.
works, or are we
No,
just
ultimately we have
speculating?
nothing. We're
So
we're all
then,
just speculating.
yeah,
This
that's
is full
okay.
it's full on
Why not
speculation.
speculate the way it will work if they have an idea, instead of speculate how they're gonna make a useless. I just don't get that perspective.
Fair enough. That's fair. But I think that ultimately speculating against mines makes more sense than speculating for mines,
Mm,
simply because we have in other games, we have examples of mine gameplay. And
Other
as far
games?
as sure, but
No, but
like
which other
there
games? Like Chris Roberts other games, or like other games in general?
Chris Roberts,
Okay,
other
okay.
games in general. Like people, when you say, "Oh, it's a mine," people know what you're talking about
In World War
because
II, yes.
they have other references to draw off of, right? So, you know, and
I mean,
and
Maso, let me tell you
CIG
something. Let me tell you something.
CIG is the one who named this the mine layer, which
It to
brings
me it
up
makes
all
sense.
sorts of it brings up
Okay,
all
wait,
sorts of
wait.
like that past examples, right? So
When
speculating on why mines are dumb in a situation where you have quadrillions of kilometers of
okay,
space,
stop. Wait. When I tell
it's
you
logical.
mine, when I tell you mine in a game, what is your first reference?
Like in
What is your first reference? Don't worry
Any
about it.
game?
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's say Half-Life,
sure.
laser trip mines.
So something that someone has to pass through or step on to activate, and then damage happens,
Yes,
right?
proximity based.
Oh yeah, let's go to
Like
the real world. What's the mine in the real world? Like, where do we use them?
mostly on land, but they did have them
That's
in
not
the
true.
ocean.
Mostly in the ocean. It's like the effectiveness. That's where I want to go to. Like,
Modern modern situations?
dude, World War II situations.
Yeah, okay, but like okay, sure. Anyways, continue.
So how big is the ocean?
Huge,
And
but not
mines fucking sink ships in the ocean.
yes, but you cannot use the ocean as a good representation here because
Why?
there are choke points in the ocean that are smaller than even the smallest choke point in space. Like
Unless,
comparing the ocean to space is not something you can do because
I
space
mean,
is so much bigger.
yeah, but there you
And
still
as you
have to
pointed out,
land. You still have to land on the station, right?
uh-huh.
So here's another question.
But
I
here's the
mean,
thing: the further look at things like a sphere. So here's the station. In order for your mines to be
sure,
effective, they have to be deployed within a certain proximity of that station.
okay.
The further out you go to place those mines, the more mines you need to be able to effectively cover that location.
What if there's an entrance to the station? You know
Even okay,
Lagrange
so
points now, how they look like? There's like lights, and then there's the
yeah,
entrance, right? What if instead of lights you had something else, like turrets or something? I don't know. Or you had to go through the lights in order to contact ATC.
sure,
And then
but
your friendly
basically,
ships. Can we? I know we're gonna get housing, but are we going to be able to have stations? Or like,
that's something that they haven't really.
okay,
I'm pretty sure they said that you're not going to be able to have player stations, but you could potentially occupy stations.
there.
I don't know for sure.
But I mean, there's
At any
so
rate,
many things that I can see mines being
sure.
effective. I don't
But
know.
so far every example you've given me requires those mines to be placed very close to something in order to be
Or to
something
be
where players would
activated from,
realistically be catching. And if you're placing them that close to a station, one, security is going to take care of those. Um,
unless it's your
and
station, right?
and the further you go out from that station, the less chance you have of actually catching somebody in those mines. And
Okay,
that's the problem with
fair.
space.
But listen to this. Let's say you're flying Caterpillar full of fucking Quantanium. It's worth, holy shit, it can be worth a lot of money, right? And you
Mhm.
know these motherfuckers are planting mines in that area. Are you going to even think about going that way? Because yeah, there's a small chance. There was a very small chance that, what's the name? Titanic sister, Britannic, is going to hit the fucking mine in the middle of the Greek Sea, whatever the name of that part is. And there she is at the bottom of the ocean,
Yeah.
hit by a
That's
fucking
the other
mine
thing.
in the middle of
That's
nowhere.
the that's the other reason you can't compare the ocean to space is because on the ocean you are limited to traveling in one axis horizontally. You're not limited to that in
Yeah, but the mines
space.
are not homing, for example, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, and this is where the speculation comes in, right?
Yeah.
Like in order for them to catch you, they're basically going to be able to have to move very quickly in all axes. They're going to have to be able to detect you from tens of kilometers away, lock on and fire towards you very quickly, or there is no chance of anybody being able or anybody getting hit by one. Just the volumes of space involved are just mind-bogglingly huge. So that's like I don't necessarily agree with Salty Mike and them for their particular reasons, but I guess that's what this is just going to come down
We
to
have to
is so
agree to
like
disagree,
I can
yeah.
see where I can see where the hate comes from, but until we know more, I don't know. I mean, if it's in any way traditional mind gameplay, then I would say it is stupid. If they if they come out and like mines end up being like you said, like kind of basically remote triggered missiles in space and an ability for us to disable, lay traps and disable people, cool, cool, sure, put all the development you want into this like fancy mine laying ship.
I'll
But
give you one more
yeah,
example, and then we
okay.
can go on and agree to disagree. Let's
Because yeah,
say you and me are flying together. I am in a Nautilus, and you are in, I don't know, 315 or Sen, and we find something that requires a big cargo ship to take away, but we can't take it away. We find something in a specific location, and instead of bringing it to Galactopedia, because we know this will be part of the game, we
yeah,
try and sell it,
right,
right, to someone who has Caterpillar or
sure.
Starlifter.
But in order to sell it, you have to secure it.
No. Then they come
Oh,
and
okay.
get it, but we mine their way out of it and activate the mine when they're going away from it, stun them, take the fucking ship and all the cargo.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with that. Right.
Okay?
Sure.
Potentially.
Frank,
It's gonna be strategic in my mind if it works.
you know
I
what?
can
Like,
see how it can fail, obviously, as an idea, but I can see how
right.
it can make sense.
Defending a specific object is probably one of the only situations where I can see mine laying in the traditional sense working.
Don't forget we're going to be
So
selling
not only
locations, right? So you will be able
sure,
to sell. That's why we have Terrapin, for example, and stuff like that. Like you're gonna
yeah,
sell a location. Now, if I
yeah,
sell location, you have to trust your source that you're buying the location from,
totally.
or you might end up in a
Or
fucking minefield, bro.
or if you discover a really valuable location, you might either A, get one of your buddies to go drop a bunch of mines next to it so that nobody takes it.
Yeah, secure it.
Or uh or hire somebody to do basically that, because
Sure. Until your
like
org gets there, God knows, like
um,
5 systems away or whatever, you know.
we've seen that in game already in the claim jumper missions. Those floating turrets, those are basically the gun turret mines that the Nautilus
Okay.
can drop. So
Oh,
that
really?
absolutely
Okay.
is something where like where the
Like
mines
these
could be
motherfuckers are
useful.
strong, dude. Like
Yeah, I
they
don't know
pack a
if they're going to be
punch.
exactly
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
but those ones have like twin size fours on them. But like that is something where yeah, like valuable patch of minerals, absolutely drop some like mines, drop some sentry turrets in there, because you're not trying to prevent somebody from going somewhere. You're not trying to like catch somebody in a snare. You're just like, oh, this is valuable. I want to keep this. So you're going to make
Sure.
it difficult to access. And that is a very small, specific location, so mines totally would work there. You know,
Okay.
throw a shit ton of mines there, because one, you wouldn't need a ton to defend the area, or drop some turret, whatever, man. um, but yeah, like that is one of the very few situations that we've talked about so far where I think traditional gameplay with mines would actually be useful. But like mining a jump gate, please no, please don't let that be a thing.
I
Please,
wouldn't mind.
that's just gonna ruin the fucking game,
Eh,
because again, permadeath, losing your shit, like
bro,
that
if
is all
Eve
like
Bubbles did not ruin Eve, mine will not ruin Star Citizen. That's all I have to say.
I don't know how the bubbles work. I imagine that it's
Oh
basically
my god! You want me to
so
explain?
you just get snared and you can't move out of it, and you
You
just get
can't fucking
jumped by
move.
everybody sitting there.
Stupid. Like so let's say your ship is this size, and
Hmm.
then you're jumping from um Hurston to whatever Crusader. But these are gates, right? So this is like system to system, right? So you jump from the main gate to the gate, right? Or from gate to gate. And there's
Right.
this bubble. So this is size of your ship. This
Yeah.
is the size of the bubble. Very cheap.
Okay.
Like it's piss cheap, right? Because it doesn't do any damage or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happens
Just
is like and they make like 5, 6, 7, 8 bubbles, and they make like this big like bubbly shit, and then just what when you get in there, you have to get out of the jump in order to get caught. So they know
Yep.
exactly where you're going to get out of the jump, roughly, and you'll not be able to stop. You're going to enter a bubble. And when you enter a bubble, you have like 3% of your original velocity or something like that. So in order to get to the bubble and kill it, or like get out of the bubble, holy shit, it takes like 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
then they have like, and they know that, they have one person there
Yes.
scouting. They can
You know
catch
how
the
that
whole
works?
fucking fleet, bro. It's crazy.
You know how that works? You said it. Your ship's this big, and those bubbles are this big.
Yeah.
That's how that works in space. You just have like it has to be something that is effective over a absolutely god awful large amount of space.
It's like
And
5 kilometers in diameter. Like if a Titan gets there, it will not affect it. I'm talking about like a really small ship. Let's say you're flying. What's the name? Whatever. Mustang Alpha doesn't matter. But I can see that like they can activate early and just like, you know, EMP or
okay.
something like that.
At any rate,
I guess agree to disagree. I still
well,
feel like
yeah.
I have a tiny
But
victory here.
here's the thing. Here, oh sure, like I mean, like I said, I mean, ultimately we're just sparring here because it's fun.
Mm,
Um, but like, again, like
for sure.
equating Bubbles and Eve to like dropping high explosive mines in front of a gate. So when
No one
somebody
said high explosive. Sorry, no one said
doesn't
high
matter.
explosive.
Well, if you can drop an EMP mine in front of a gate, why can't you drop an explosive one?
Well, because there
And
can be. It's very simple because around the gates, I expect them to have what's the name? No fire zone. How do we call it? Fuck, my brain just stopped.
armistice.
Armistice zone, right? You can't fucking put it there
Okay. Okay,
to
well,
prevent
so
like
you can come out of the gate and not be immediately bombed by a mine, which was my primary concern. But they're not going to have that there because armistice zones are going. You know,
Yeah, but
so
I mean they can make this in so many ways, right?
sure
Like
they could have it so that when a gate activates, it sends out some sort of a
exactly.
pulse or something
Yeah.
that detonates all
Some reaction between the
anything.
mine and the gate. That's what I thought,
Sure,
and it just doesn't work.
sure.
That's it. Or they can simply just put like you can't put mines in this area. End of
But then at that point again, so where can you put those mines then?
We
So
just
they have
talked
to be
about
further
this.
back, which
Oh
means
yeah,
you need more mines to cover that same area. And that again, it's just like the further you go out from something, because everything is in three
the more
dimensions, that
space you
bubble
have to
just
cover. I understand
yeah,
that, but there's
yeah.
a probability. That's what like piracy in space in Eve is trying to figure out from which direction someone will be stupid enough to enter your bubble, which
Okay.
works, man. It's fucking.
So
I've been in bubbles so many times.
so it's more of
It hurts.
like a spider's web thing, and you just throw them out there and hope that you catch something, not
Yeah.
necessarily that you intend to catch something.
Well, you do intend because there's a lot of traffic. You put them in
Yeah.
like high traffic zones, so
I
someone
can't
will
remember what I was
get
going to
there.
say before we kind of went into this, but at any rate, I don't know. Mines, we'll have to see.
I agree.
We'll have to see.
I mean, they can
But
fail. I'm just saying, I do want to believe in because I can see the space in which this gameplay can be very important and interesting, and I believe CIG can. They have
yes,
capacity and potential to make it playable.
but I really don't think that that'll be their focus, which I think is where I'm just going to wrap up. Like, I feel like the Nautilus and mine laying gameplay is going to be something that they needed for Squadron 42 for a mission that CR decided he wanted in there, because mine layers and stuff have pretty much appeared in every single CR game so far. And then I think that we probably won't see effective or realistic renditions of that mine layer gameplay in the game for a long time in the PU. So
Sure.
I think that's where this labor is going in. I think that's where this work is going into to Nautilus and mines. I think it's for Squadron 42, and it remains to be seen whether or not they manage to prioritize. Let's say that prioritize mine gameplay enough to actually get a balanced and fun, working mine model.
Oh, because everything else that we have in Alpha is balanced and fun. Sure, I agree.
Not right now, but this is the thing. We're not going to see mines in alpha.
I think we're gonna see mines the same day we see quantum jumps to another system.
I don't think so.
Sure, fair. Let's see.
I
say
think we'll see
Pyro
the.
and Nautilus will be there, like maybe not the same day, same patch.
God,
but
I
like,
hope not. Why would you
Oh, I
wish this?
fucking
Why
hope,
would?
yes.
Why did you want that? Because you know for a fact
I'm gonna
that-
get the fucking Nautilus and mine every location Salty Mike mines. I love you, Mike, but you're gonna see how powerful that shit is.
If they do that, if they release Pyro and Nautilus at the same time, nobody's gonna ever get to Pyro because
Fuck 'em.
people are just gonna mine the shit out of the
Fuck
gates.
'em. I'm
And
gonna be
that's
there
that.
on my own.
Okay, move on for fuck's sakes.
You got it. Let's go on. It's your topic. Don't look at
Okay.
me.
Okay, I wasn't. I need a drink after that conversation for
That's
fuck's
cool,
sakes.
man, that's cool. Dude.
Okay, so everybody's been talking about this for a while because iCash has been hot for a while. And there's been a lot of different content creators that have had different takes on iCash, what it means to the game, whether or not it'll realistically fix things, whether it'll break everything and make the game totally unplayable for a while, etc. And frankly, there's been a lot of people who've talked about iCash and are, I think, completely wrong, or at least don't grasp the full scope of what iCash will means to this game. But I'm going to start off with just like a generic what iCash actually means, or what iCache actually will be doing in this game for people who aren't fully aware. And I will also disclaimer this
Like
by
me.
saying that I'm not a tech person. This is just my interpretation of what I've read and what I've heard on various like dev videos and stuff like that about iCache. But I think one of the primary things to understand about iCache is that iCache will be a server running in the back end, not connected to the game server, that keeps track of all of the items in the actual game player, or in the actual game server. So
wait. So separate server.
Yes.
Running
so you
parallel.
know how
Holy shit!
you know
what
how,
if that crashes?
Yes.
Oh my god!
No, we already have that. Chat. The reason that you can talk to people,
yeah, you can.
while the servers are crashing is because the chat server is separate from the game server. Ditto with the server that tracks trades and stuff like that, and the economic stuff like that. It's the reason why it doesn't matter what server you're on, there's always the same amount of Laranite at
I don't
wherever you go down.
There's a lot of people who don't know this.
Okay, well, that's all tracked by a separate server. Like that's why
but can we just
doesn't reset.
quickly, just in short, like explain this, because a lot of people who are getting into the game and trying trading, and even some experienced people don't know that so this is so important in my opinion, because I did not know this at the beginning. But regardless of which server and server shards, so Maso can play on NA server, I can play on EU server, so different shards. And if there's 100 units of Laranite in a station, let's say Bezdek, and I buy 40 and leave, it will leave 60 for everyone else on any other server until the server tick happens, which will like give an X amount of whatever unit we're trading, right? So very important thing to know, because I did not know for a long time that trading is completely connected across all servers.
Yep. Even between like different geographical areas. So like the US servers are connected to the same economic server as the EU servers, as the oceanic servers, etc.
And the same goes for guns, ship guns, missiles, med pens. Yep. There's a shortage of rattlers right now. Like you can't find rattlers because everyone's buying them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like on the ships. And
stations.
So
cities.
so iCache basically is another like server that would be running in the back end that would be tracking what guns you have on your ship, what components you have on your ships, what items you have inside your ship and stuff like that. You know, the whole coffee cup, you know,
Yeah, my
like the
favorite.
whole the whole coffee cup that CR likes to go on about. Is same thing. Like that's all stuff that that would be tracked by a server, so that the game server itself doesn't have to keep track of any of that. And so like one of the things I constantly hear people, I think, underestimating iCash's impact about is exactly that. People just think it's like, oh, it's just an inventory tracker, but it's more than that, because it takes all of that data and more, because it also would track like your progress in a mission, uh, you know, like all this sort of stuff, and it takes that off of the game server and then tracks it separately. So there's a variety of reasons why I think that
Implementation, basically.
the implementation of iCash will drastically change. I guess I didn't really like jump into this topic very well, but I guess the thrust of it is that I think that iCash will have a much greater effect on gameplay in Star Citizen than a lot of people think. Will it be a silver bullet? That remains to be seen. But
so here's my first fear, because the way I brought this up is I don't really understand how iCache is supposed to work, which is why, and we did not talk about this behind the scenes because I wanted to hear it as you're explaining it live. But at the same time, I am super scared of everyone is holding on to iCache, completely fixing the game, as you say, silver bullet. And I'm afraid that when iCache comes, if it does not deliver, a lot of people will get butthurt and will stop playing the game for a long time, because that's the last fucking resort. That's everyone's light at the end of the tunnel. Not me. I don't want iCache, but I'm just scared of, like, there's been things like this before, right? Like
server-side
persistence
object container
or SSOs,
streaming, yeah.
And so here's a possibility in my head. So we get the iCache, and then everything that day, everything fucking works, and everyone's happy. You log off, you log in, your cup is there, and then throughout the next day, whatever 30K version of iCache server happens, and everything's gone to shit. For example, like I don't know, but like I can see that, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh shit, it's not working."
Well,
but in reality, it's working, and they're using a shit server for iCache, for example, because as we know, we're not using really good servers for the game right now because it makes sense. They don't want to pay for that shit, right?
I don't know, man. They've released their numbers, and they're paying a fucking lot for their servers right now.
But
Millions
compared
and
to Amazon
millions of
servers,
dollars.
aren't they supposed to get Amazon fucking servers for free?
Yeah, I don't think it's the server quality. I think it's the fact that the game code is so unpolished right now that like you could be running it on absolutely top end servers, which I'm pretty sure they are.
Oh my god, don't tell me that. No, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear
bud.
that.
I'm sorry, but
the shit servers, shut
up. No, man, go look at how much they spent on servers in 2019.
Aren't fucking Amazon servers supposed to be the best ever? And the trade, isn't there like the trade between them?
Servers are only good as good as the code that's running on them, and right now the code's not in the best shape. Well, it's not complete ultimately.
Oh my god, please no.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a network tech, so I don't know. I don't know for sure, but
more than any time before, I hope you're so fucking wrong.
Okay, well, let's see. 2019 Star Citizen server costs.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know. Like,
it does to an extent. $4 million per month in 2017 just on servers.
4 million per month? No fucking way. Like, how do they still have money then? Well, they don't, but like, you know what I mean?
Anyways. It was
4
his
million per
financial stuff when he
month? Per month? Per
that's
month?
maybe too much, you're right. That was a server cost. Pretty close. 2018. Okay, no, so it wasn't per month. Server cost in
Per year.
2018 was 9 million for the year, and
Okay.
then 11.4 million in 2019. So that's almost $1 million a month
That's okay
on
because
servers.
here's the thing. I know that like World of Warcraft is like they literally have the subscription because they can't like it would be ridiculous to pay the server costs. You know what I mean? Like it's still doesn't mean that come on, man.
Yeah. Okay. At any rate, okay. So to go back to the original topic,
You might be right though. I'm gonna hate you so much if you are.
well, I don't know. Just
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
just chill out
Okay.
because like the game in the back end is a fucking shit show right now. Anyways, um, but the reason why I think that iCash, okay, first of all, I'll say it's entirely improbable. I will say that when they roll out iCash, it's going to be a mess because when you roll out anything, it's a mess. The only thing I think iCash has going for it is that, according to the devs on various ISCs and SCLs and stuff like that over the last year, they've been talking about how they are building iCash out gradually. So like most of the code as you see it right now is being built with iCache in mind. So it's already
Since
being
when?
built out. Sorry?
Since when?
In
Do we know?
2019 plus. It's actually one of
Okay.
the reasons that on the progress tracker you see in Q1, it's either Q1 or Q2, legacy conversion to iCache or something like that. And all that's basically saying is that they're going to go back over all the old code that hasn't been built for iCache and bring that up to basically include iCache. So like iCache is being, as far as I understand it, anyways, being like basically gradually integrated, and has been for years now. So while it's possible that when they finally flip the switch and say, okay, iCache is running, entirely possible that it'll break everything. But it's also possible that it won't. And even if it's working in part, I think that it'll have a lot, at least as far as I understand it, it'll have a lot of really good things, like
I'm
good
sure.
effects on Star Citizen as well.
They're not
Because one of the
stupid. They know
things,
what they're doing, right? I
oh,
mean,
absolutely, yeah. Will a lot of people get butthurt if it's not the silver bullet and leave?
well, hear me out.
Possibly. I mean,
I
this we've already gone through this with server-side
sure,
object container
exactly.
streaming.
The
You
thing
know,
is, I think the way they explain it is fine and true, right? But the way content creators hype it up is maybe crazy because let's go back to what I said might happen. Like day two, the iCache server crashes and everything goes to shit, right? And we have to start from
mhm,
zero the day after.
mhm.
And everyone's butthurt, but actually, in reality, that means that iCache server worked for one day and delivered
Yeah,
what they wanted it to do. So that necessarily is not unsuccessful for CIG. However,
totally.
for
Yeah,
every player who doesn't even think that far, which because you don't have to. I mean, in the end, you're paying to play this game, even though it's alpha. But for you, this is a massive failure because you've been waiting for this for like 2-3 years, hyping yourself up, and other people hyping you up, and then it fucks you over in one day. You see
yep,
where I'm going with this? Like that's what I'm
yes,
scared of. Like I believe iCache and server meshing are fucking amazing, just like their code and everything, and I believe in them 100%. But I'm afraid of how we are actually like taking this information as consumers and how hurtful it can be for us
that's
long
legit.
term.
Though I would also say that like really what you're talking about here is literally just Star Citizen for
True.
the basically as long as the roadmap has been around.
But has
When
has
people,
anything been this impactful
oh,
in our minds?
I've heard Jesus patch like more
Mm,
times than I can
okay.
count now.
Okay.
So
I haven't.
I
I'm that's where my inexperience comes to play.
yeah, I do genuinely think that we'll be fine. I mean, I think that there will people be people who scream and yell, but like Yeah, I at the end of the day, if things roll out well and we even see part of the benefits of iCash when it rolls out, we'll be in good shape. Because, for example, like, and this is something that they've said before on the various, I think it was on an SCL. Most of the desync, or a large reason that we have big time desync in the game right now, is because that game server is keeping track of every ship, every item on the ship, uh, every different player's ship that they could potentially have, in their ship list. Like that entire inventory list is being tracked. Any ship that is out is being actively tracked by the game server. And
Which is what we talked about last time with the 300 die, right? That
yes, yeah,
accounts for that, like as many color
totally.
variations and all that stuff.
So you put iCash in and you offload all of that load. Um, Not to mention, I'm pretty sure NPCs would probably go onto the iCache server as well. So the game server is now no longer having to track every single NPC because the iCache server is tracking that,
Oh,
and
does
it
that
doesn't
mean we're
have
gonna
to.
lose the standing on the chair shit?
Maybe, I don't know, but basically, what it
Okay,
what
that's too
what will
iconic.
likely
We don't
happen
want to lose that, right?
if we get part of it is, yeah. I hope they keep that in just because.
One, like there needs to be one NPC, or
Yeah.
a statue in some places.
Or just maybe just on Hurston because it's the form of protest against the Hurston government.
Oh shit, dude.
But yeah, at any rate, like if all of that data gets offloaded to a back end server and now the game server doesn't have to track it, that means that the game server tick rate comes up, which means that AI behaves better, which means that there's less desync, which means
Okay,
that we might actually see Star Citizen closer to what it is supposed to play like when all of
sure.
that stuff is now tracked off the server. The
If
other thing,
wait,
if
wait. I
none of
I have a
that
question
happens, I
there.
have. Okay.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Well, I was just going to basically say that if none of that happens and all iCache ends up doing is saving your state so that when you 30K you can sign right back into where you
That's
were,
golden, dude.
even if just that
That's
happens,
not just.
that's
That's
a
so big.
win.
But I'm afraid that people expect that, and then if that server is not stable, then we don't have that. We like think we have it,
Sure.
but like if you have it and have it, you have it. That's cool. But if you have a chance of having it, that's bullshit because you're gonna be like stressed out all the time. Like I don't want. I'd rather not have it and know I don't have it than like have a chance for saved like cargo. Um, but this what you just said would actually mean that the servers they're having are good, but like overloaded, kind of with
Yes.
junk.
Yes.
Which I'm
Precisely.
afraid of because we only have 50 people per server. Don't forget that, dude. Like that's fucking crazy. Like
Yeah.
if these are really good servers, no matter how much they were, but okay, but that would mean that they were using that. I'm assuming they're using the same kind of servers for the past X amount of years. Let's say 3 years, right? And 3 years before and today, I'm sure we have like more shit in a game than what we have that. So my question to you is, if the servers are good but just overloaded, were servers better 3 years ago or not?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
I mean,
shit,
maybe
okay.
not 3 years ago or whatever,
I'm
but
just a number. That's just a number. I don't know. Yeah,
like just go back to 3.7.
I haven't
That's
played
when you
3.7.
started, right?
I started
Oh,
3.8,
wait.
like
Oh, okay.
last days of 3.7. So yeah,
Okay, well, 3.7, there was very little desync. Okay, the NPCs were still derpy, sure, like there was still some of that, but the stability was much higher there because there was less in at least this as far as I understand it. I have to preface all this by saying
of course.
I
It's
don't
just
know,
two of us
like this
talking
is
about
just
it.
as I
Yeah,
understand it. Um, but yeah, so like there was just less. For example, like at 3.7, there was I think only 3 planets. That's the other thing. The game servers are keeping track of all the planets, all the moons, all the outposts on the moons. You know,
actually,
like on all that
Microtech
stuff.
has so many outposts. I don't know if you've checked, but like it has like over 20 places where you can like
I
jump to.
haven't specifically, but at the end of at
It has a lot.
ultimately, like yeah, every time they've added something to the game, servers have gotten worse. So like basically after Hurston. everything they added after Hurston has had market effects on server performance.
Okay, see,
Um,
I don't have that experience because I haven't played that.
and
And then that makes sense.
they said not too long ago, they said, well, I guess actually it would have been quite a while ago. Last CitizenCon, maybe CitizenCon before that. At some point, basically in an SCL, they basically said our servers are like we can't add anything else without like seriously,
Sure,
you
but
know,
that's where I wonder if
affecting
these
server
are
performance.
the servers they're gonna have the game running on.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think
Okay.
ultimately just distributing the workload is going to help so much because right now with a game server that has there is no low level backend it can really draw on. Like it's tracking in real time and rendering in real time as far as I understand it. Again, disclaimer, like
You don't
all
have
this
to.
shit.
People should
I
know
have
by
to.
now, you know?
Yeah. Like yeah, this is just me, like
It's
my understanding from watching their stuff. But yeah.
and player perspective. Like if we are wrong in these cases,
Oh
someone
yeah.
can say that, or it's who knows, maybe Xylo or someone will watch this and be like, holy shit, this is what people think about it, and it's
Oh,
so wrong
frankly,
that we have to actually explain this to people, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Like
don't
if
worry about it,
anybody's
it's okay.
if if anybody's watching this and like has a better insight on this, absolutely
Yeah.
leave comments and stuff like that. But yeah, like so while I think that there is a lot of reason to be afraid about an iCache rollout, I think that overall it is just going to be such a huge improvement for this game, even if only half of what they are expecting it to do happens. You know,
So we have to
um,
hope that iCache server is stable, basically.
yes. And if it's primarily just a server in the back that's just crunching numbers and feeding those numbers on request to the game server, I really don't think that there's much reason to think that it wouldn't be stable. I don't see them being particularly resource intensive if all they're handling is data. Um,
Servers and CIG equals, I don't know. I don't
yeah,
trust until I see,
well, yeah, we'll see. But yeah,
Yeah.
and again, I mean, I think that is the crux. From my perspective, that is the crux of the issue around iCache. That is why iCache is so important, and it's not something I hear content creators and other people talking
No,
about enough with
now I know
respect
more
to
about it. Like I
iCache.
literally did not know until you explain. I did not even know that that's a server running behind.
Hmm.
So this helped me understand. I know some people might think like what you think about Xylo and the Lando appearing in Stanton, sorry, Daymar show, but I literally have no clue. And I think I know something, but I don't. And when people ask me in my streams, like I'm like, I don't know, guys. I can't really talk much about this because I just don't have enough information. And now I have an idea, which hopefully some other people will also get an
Yeah,
idea.
I think so too. At any rate, if you're watching this, iCache is not simply an inventory system. It's so much more than that. It literally like it's what I'm more excited for iCache as a piece of tech, at least as they've described it, than server meshing.
Eh,
Because
give me
even if
both.
server meshing never, oh yeah, give me both, obviously. But even if server meshing never ends up happening, if iCache does its job as it's described, then even if you're playing on 50-player servers for the rest of Star Citizen, at least the game will work properly, and you'll likely be able to have a smoother, less janky gameplay experience. So, yeah, that's all I had to say on that
Thank you
particular
much. I'm not
topic.
gonna ask you any more questions because yeah, not it helped me like kind of understand.
Because I don't know shit about shit.
And I know this was a part where I don't know shit, but yeah. Okay, so let's get to the next one, right? Um, I have a question. Okay, so before we go on, we decided to stream this live. If anyone is in the chat, you can see it now. Which was the original idea, and the reason for this is we want to end our shows with taking some of the questions that you can actually claim and ask throughout the show, read it in the end, and pick like one or two, depending on how long the show is already, and elaborate on it. Um, which if you don't know and you're watching in Masocast channel right now, you can do. Uh, or if you're not watching, but keep in mind, if you're watching this on YouTube, we also do this live on Twitch TV/Masocast. And so you are capable of sending questions. And before I continue, the reason I brought this up is because we're doing this for the first time in the format that we knew we want to have since the very first episode. We just had to deal with the the
Technical.
yeah, tech stuff, tech quirks. And I just want to ask you, Maso, you have any questions already, so that if we should like skip some things or not, because yeah, we're like over 2 hours in.
Let's see.
I'll take questions. Like if there's a questions why my voice is so divine and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, no questions
Okay, cool.
so far. So we'll just carry on to the next
Cool,
topic.
cool, cool. But I think it's important for people to know that there is a possibility for this. If you wanna get into our shows and ask questions that we might talk about, like in the show at the end of the show, follow twitch.tv/Masocast, and you'll see when he gets live. So yeah. Anyway, so the next section of our podcast is Imagination Station. And then the one after that is Maso's Absolute Zero Effort Science section, which today might have like some connections.
I think they're probably going to tie together.
Yeah, which why I'm bringing both right now. So yeah. Anyway, so because I like structured things, like I kind of want people to get to know what's coming up. You know what I mean? Like it's time for Imagination Station, which is a section where we imagine, which is what a lot of people do in Star Citizen. I think that's what's keeping the dream alive. So this one is totally on me, I would say. I am a ship person in real life. I love the ocean. I love water in general. And some time ago, as a new Star Citizen, I started talking to my friendos around who are playing about possibility of ships landing on the water surfaces or even going under the water. And particularly, the reason I thought about this is I fly a lot around Hurston, especially back then, in a sense, with the idea that maybe, just maybe, there's something that I might stumble upon that is different. And in doing this, I actually like flying around the water and like touching the water with like one wing a little bit, because there's interaction. Gotta be very careful though, because if you go a little bit too deep, you explode. That's it. Like water is like water equals 30k almost. You know what I mean? Like it's instant death. But then if I look at Origin ships, they have that modern world yacht kind of ship shape, and almost all of the Origin ships look like technically they could float on the water surface. Especially
wait. No, the 890 jump does.
300
Maybe the
series, no?
600. No, 300 looks like a plane. Absolutely looks like a
It
plane.
looks
Doesn't
like a
look like a boat.
speed, like a speeder almost. Take a look
I don't
again.
know.
Even 100
Okay.
series, like they have different like bottom where it's like curved a little bit, and I can totally see them being able to at least land into the water.
Interesting. I've never seen that, but okay.
Well, pay attention now, and you might still disagree, sure, but like I always had this since the first time I started playing the game and saw the Origin ships. I was like, holy shit, this potentially could land on water or even move around. And yeah, actually, when 400i was announced, well, then later made
Not
a lot
announced.
of sense. Well, yeah,
Leaked.
sorry, leaked.
Leaked.
And it now it makes sense, because it's literally we found a real life yacht that looks exactly the same. But when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, this. And there's another reason, like this could be a semi like water friendly vehicle as well. But at the same time, we saw in IC or SEL, I don't remember, them showing the water buoyancy and the debris like floating around the water. You can like jump over. And recently, I saw someone experimenting live on Twitch where they would use the new, how do you call it, like tech, like the thruster pushback
I
or
would call it
whatever.
like, yeah, like jet wash or thruster wash.
Sure. So they would point their thrusters towards these debris parts in the water, in the ocean, or Hurston, and it's actually physicalized. It scatters around, and there was a person on it. It was really interesting to see. It blew my mind. But anyways, that tells me that they are kind of going that way in
Yeah.
slowly but surely, and I
Well,
would love that.
honestly, I think so. I think like I'm surprised that they're going. You said slowly but surely, but like frankly, the progress that they've been making with buoyancy tech and stuff like that is more than I thought we'd be seeing for years, to be honest.
Um.
Because like you said, I mean, like they've talked about doing more with what's in the water and stuff like that. They've been talking about that for a while, but like now seeing over 2028, there was like at least two or three different segments on various ISCs, I think, where they showed like different stuff to do with stuff floating on water and buoyancy and stuff
Well,
like
they
that.
just
So
started working on it because it was just how do you call that? It was like
been working on it all
Crytek
2020.
or CryEngine uh, insert water here, and that's why it's like just a killer trap
Yes.
kind of.
Yeah.
So
But
now
like,
they replace it with their own water, like first iteration or whatever.
yeah,
Which, to be fair, I think the old water looks better, just personal opinion. But this is like they will work on it, obviously.
yeah,
Um, which makes sense, right? That now they're something's actually happening, and we
yeah,
have to remember that they talked about not Area 18, sorry, R Corp getting the ocean, which is news, if I'm not wrong.
yes. That is
Um,
news.
Microtech having the frozen ocean, which we can touch on as well, which is kind of interesting. And then two moons of Microtech having one having frozen ocean and one having the actual like liquid whatever ocean.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that they brought into, and then fucking 400 looked like a fucking yacht. I was so happy, and
No,
obviously,
they've mentioned on like various calling all devs and stuff like that. I'm positive, like over the last couple of years, saying that they always intended to kind of make their buoyancy and like to talk about like gameplay on the water. Possibly, in fact, I'm positive, or well, I would say I'm 80% sure that not too long ago they even mentioned about something specifically about underwater gameplay. I just didn't expect it. I
no,
didn't even
right.
expect them to be even working on it.
But if you
But
think
like,
about it, something just crossed my mind. We recently got another studio. Well, when I say I mean Star Citizen development, right? Got the new studio that is doing planets, right? And
yes,
they're doing only planets, and it would make sense because big part of planets is water if there are water planets, right? So I
mhm,
mean that we are capable of landing on.
totally.
And then it would make sense that like water and clouds are the last what is how it's like basic parts of the planet we don't really have
I
properly,
guess so.
right?
Yeah,
It would
yeah.
make
Like,
sense that they finalize that in a way like first iteration so these guys can actually fully focus and make the planets, right?
yeah,
Just a
because
speculation, just of
yeah.
course.
On top of that, rivers and roads. But
Ooh, yeah. I don't even have that idea in my head.
yeah. But I still like it's just not something I expected to be seeing work on yet. But this is where things kind of like I don't know if I guess we'll just kind of tie this in
Sure,
and then
sure,
we
sure.
can bounce back and forth between imagination and science. But like my kind of take on this was that like absolutely they have to consider doing um something with water just because one from a gameplay perspective there's like water biomes and things like that on planets are some of the most striking and stunning and interesting areas to be around from a gameplay perspective.
Visually as
um
well. It just
visually,
appealing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, like there's so like they would be missing a huge opportunity for varied gameplay by not fleshing out the water system, and like creating it so that there's more to do in water, being able to swim, being able to potentially have vehicles that can go underneath water, stuff like that.
Don't forget
Um,
fishing, please. We have to
Yep,
fish.
sure, fishing, yeah, like, and not to mention, like, potentially having, like, predatory,
Yeah,
baddies
flora,
under the
fauna.
water and stuff
Yep,
like
yep,
that.
yep.
Like, that's huge opportunity for
Even
variety in
ships.
in
Imagine
gameplay.
like running away from someone who's chasing you, knowing that your ship can go underwater and theirs can't.
Yeah.
It's like flying
I
into the ocean or stuff like
I
that.
guess I guess maybe that's a thing. I, personally,
I don't know if I
I
want
hope
it,
that
but like,
they yeah.
potentially something like that can be a.
I hope that they don't make it so
Sure.
that ships can go underwater because 1, doesn't make sense, and 2, 2, it doesn't make sense.
But can you
Like your
can you just
thrusters are your
quickly elaborate on that?
okay, well, the thrusters on your ship are Vasimir rockets, which is basically a like electromagnetically accelerated plasma that it uses for thrust. That that doesn't work underwater. you can't you can't use plasma thrusters underwater. Like
But
they
you don't
just
have to, right? I mean, sorry, but that one does not work this time. I'm sorry.
how does
Because
it
think
not?
about the car that like so we have what's the name? Amphib- how do we call that? A car that can go underwater or
Yeah, an amphibious
amphibious, yeah.
cars.
So
Okay, how
so
does it do
of
that, Chegg?
course,
How does it drive? How does it drive underwater or on top of the water?
well,
It
first
has
of
a
all,
propeller.
if the water like you don't want water inside, right? Various
Mhm.
parts of your car. So for that to work, you need to be able to like seal everything properly.
Yep.
And the car
Ditto for
actually,
plasma thrusters.
but there can be some kind of transformation. That's what I'm saying. Like there can be some kind of transformation, and
Sure.
you can have thrusters only for the water, right? Or you can
If
just have
it
fucking
is
propellers,
that
mechanical
that's
shit,
all
right?
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say. If a ship actually does have that stuff, like if it's built to be like a partly aquatic ship, sure.
But that's what I'm
Do it.
saying.
Go for it.
Your
Go
ship
for it.
can
But
go there, and the other ship cannot because it's just not built for
oh,
that.
okay. Well, in which case, yes, like absolutely. But I don't want what I was saying is that I don't want every ship
I agree,
to be able to
100%.
to
That's
just
why
go from air to underwater
it'd be,
because I think that's super cheesy.
but it'd be so cool that, for example, Origins, like one of the gimmicks and why they're so expensive, is because you can fucking experience
Yeah,
cruising
sure.
on the water
Sure.
or under.
Or just like frankly, like even if they said no ships can ever go underwater, but they gave you vehicles that you
Okay,
could
fair.
like, I don't know,
We
drop
talked
out of a
about this.
cargo bay or something like that, that'd be sweet.
So there's two
But
things that when you touch on vehicles, like I really want GravLab vehicles to be able to
oh yeah,
glide over the water surface, and I don't know
yeah.
if that's if that would be you might know this, but I don't know if that's possible because I don't know like what's keeping the GravLab above. It's like
Wait, you mean
VTOL.
scientifically?
Well,
Scientifically,
yeah.
we don't know because we still don't know how gravity works.
So how does Nox work and
How,
how does
anti-grav, but we don't know what that is. Not in real life, anyways.
because if I think about it, like maybe like kind of bouncing off the water surface would not be the same as bouncing off like solid surface, I
In
guess.
theory, well, I can't even say in theory because again, like
Fair.
we have no idea how gravity works, so we have no idea how anti-gravity would work.
Okay, cool. But
But
it would be amazingly cool that you can like
yes,
do
for
that in
gameplay
a graph.
purposes,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, if it's like repelling off of the gravitational field of an object, then there's no reason like that gravitational field doesn't really change if you're going over water compared to over land because
But
you're still on the planet.
how do you like okay, so what's if there's like a lot of elevation, let's say you're climbing the mountain. How does that
Still, you're still on that planet. Like that planet is exerting gravitational force on that object. It's like when you climb up a mountain, you aren't lighter than you are when you're at the ground.
No, I know that, but like Okay,
So
yeah, okay.
yeah, ultimately this is stupid because we
Yeah.
have no idea how anti-grav would actually work.
But my other thing was, what about like ground vehicles? Like, and I had an idea of like Ursa rover that actually can, exactly what we were saying. Like, if it was like an
Yeah,
amphibious rover that you can drive around and then just
totally.
continue in the water with like a little bit of, or what's the name, G12 or whatever. Like, there you go. Like, Origin has that as well. What if that can, turn into
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
a little boat?
Totally.
Or yeah,
Well, honestly, the buoyancy stuff, I can see that happening way before we get underwater gameplay. Like
I
underwater is
don't
where
know
shit
if I
kind of gets.
want underwater, to be honest.
Well, they'll have to do something because you're going to be able to swim. Like your character's going to be able to swim.
We have
So
games where you can like Elder Scrolls Online, for example. You can swim, and there's like you can see, but you can never go underwater.
I
And
hope they
let me,
don't do that.
okay, but it's not game breaking at all. And even for me, like I played World of Warcraft for like my entire life, and like you can dive in World of Warcraft. Well, last 16 years, you can
Yeah,
dive in World of Warcraft, but it's kind of shit. And when I started playing Elder Scrolls Online,
yeah,
I was like, you know what? This seems limiting, but like from immersion perspective, when you get used to it, it's so much more beautiful because and that's what scares me with water mechanics is like I feel like there's so much development probably to bring underwater gameplay
yes,
that, as you
and
mentioned, like
that's
that could be like an expansion or something. I don't know,
oh yeah.
a DLC or God knows.
I think that they'll do it, but I think it'll be a ways down the road. But then again, here they are working on all this like water tech, and they've literally have said word for word that they are working on doing stuff underwater too. So maybe we're both crazy. Maybe it's closer than we think, and maybe it'll just be something that you get continuous iterations of, where it becomes more and more.
Just
And,
like
and
Tier
frankly,
Zero
I hope
now.
that it is. And this is where the science comes into things, because water in our universe is one of the most common molecules out there. There is tons of water. Like I can't tons is like totally underestimating. In fact, the majority of water in our solar system isn't on Earth. Like
This
by a
you said this before the show, and I was mind blown. Like I
yeah,
always thought that the reason we are not on any other planets yet is because there's just no water, which means that we can't survive.
no, there's tons of water elsewhere. In fact, there are two water moons in our solar system, Enceladus
Europa,
and Europa. Yes,
I
yeah,
remembered.
around Saturn. Thanks, around Saturn and Jupiter, and those things have 1 kilometers thick chunks of ice surrounding them, but underneath them, we suspect, um, or like it's theorized, anyways. And by theorized, I mean the scientific um, word, not hypothesized, that these oceans are like hundreds of kilometers deep, like deeper than any ocean on Earth.
But the
Um,
fact that they're frozen, yeah, but I mean we
no, no,
can
no,
we can
only up
fight
top.
heat, right? We can fight the temperature, anyways, right?
Yeah, it's only frozen up top. Once you get below that ice sheet, it's liquid for like tons and tons and tons,
Oh,
like I
microtech.
said, hundreds of kilometers. Um, and the reason it stays liquid down there is because of uh, it's like a gravitational flexing kind of a thing, because the orbit of Enceladus around Jupiter being a very, very massive body, um, that like tidal flexing, that's what it's called. Basically, as it orbits Jupiter, and interacts with other moons in Jupiter's orbit, the water and the ice on that moon flexes, so it'll stretch and it'll compress, and it'll stretch and it'll compress as it orbits, and that stretching and compressing heats the water, which keeps it liquid underneath the surface.
So how
It's
did that
also why,
surface get frozen? The fuck, dude.
well, it's exposed to vacuum, so just over time it just frozen, because the temperatures in space are very, 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 very low. um and yeah, basically, yeah, you end up with that kind of flexing, and it's the same thing out in Enceladus. um but that flexing also, they've theorized, because there's a solid core at the center of these moons, and they've theorized that the flexing there could also create geothermal effects as well. So you might actually even have at the bottoms of these oceans geothermal vents similar to the way we do here on Earth, where you have like hot kind of
Like geysers, kind of, but underwater,
yeah,
right?
yeah, geysers underwater, there's actually that's actually one of the things that we theorize. One of the places we theorize that life may have started on Earth
I was just
actually was
about.
around those
Oh, okay.
hydrothermal vents.
I was just about to
Um,
ask, like, wouldn't that mean that there's life on in these like water
could be.
bodies?
It's one of the main reasons that we really want to go there. And to make it even more appealing, we've actually flown a probe through a geyser plume around Enceladus, around Saturn, and they've detected organic molecules in there.
How is
So
this not
amino
common
acids
knowledge? That's
and
crazy, dude.
um, yeah, amino acids and like different like hydrocarbons and stuff like that. So like, dude, like there's a lot of people that think if we're gonna find life anywhere in the solar system, it'll be in one of these moons,
So
and it's probably
how far is that from Earth?
oh very very very
How
far.
many lives?
Oh, not lives, but like definitely years. Let's see, how far is Saturn? Distance to Saturn, 1.6 billion kilometers.
Translate
uh,
in years roughly without quantum jump.
okay.
Roughly.
Uh,
That's of course.
to travel.
But like,
How
are we
how long
talking
did
like
it?
100 years or are we talking like 10 years? You know,
Um,
I'm putting you on a
I
spot
can't
here.
remember. I can't remember how long it took the probe to get to Saturn. Uh, trying to remember what it's called.
How long does it take to Mars?
Um, 3 or 4 months if it's in the right position of the orbit.
Okay, got you. Yeah, but they can calculate that, right?
Yes.
So
And
let's say if
to
it
be
takes
fair,
3 months to Mars, how long would it take, like roughly, like
you
looking at it?
see that's the thing. Like you can't really judge it like that because you're never flying in a straight line
Sure.
out to Saturn. Like in a lot of cases, because it would take so much fuel to get out there, they like they fire it off and they use the gravitational assist of this planet to like wrap it and give it a little bit more velocity. Then they wrap
Mm,
it around that planet, which gives it a little bit more velocity. And so like it's not just a straight line out to Saturn, but
I see
god
the
damn
things
it,
that I don't even know.
Saturn probe. What was it called? Cassini. That's what it was. How long did it take Cassini to reach Saturn? 11, no, 3 years is what it took.
Okay, that's not crazy.
No.
I mean, I would gladly sacrifice three
Oh,
years to
wait.
end up on our
Pioneer
planet.
11, sorry, Pioneer 11 and 12. Oh, and the Voyager probes took a direct route, which reached Saturn in 3 years, but Cassini took 7, and that's because they had to like,
Okay,
they had
what you were
to
explaining, right?
yeah, and they had to get it out there with not too much velocity or it would just overshoot, kind of like Pioneer and Voyager. Like those probes they sent basically on a trajectory to go out of the solar system, whereas like Cassini they wanted it to land in Saturn's orbit,
It's
so they had to take a little
mind
bit of a
blowing,
longer.
dude. That like that's crazy shit, but it's amazing.
Yeah. But anyways, I think it was actually the Cassini probe which actually detected the hydrocarbons and amino acids in Enceladus's plume. 'Cause that's the other thing. Like because the surface of these planets are constantly like crushing and stretching like this, you end up with like these big fissures which just basically jet water way out into
Mm.
space, like like thousands of kilometers out
What
into
happens with
space.
the water in space?
It crystallizes, ends up as in the case of Saturn, probably ends up in its rings.
Oh shit.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, that's what a large portion of Saturn's rings is composed of. Actually, is water ice. Um, yeah, actually,
Okay.
in the Expanse, that's where the Canterbury would go out to Saturn to get ice and then bring it back
I never
to
connected that with like rings and okay.
yeah.
Right.
Though to be fair, and again, this is something that we've discovered since The Expanse was written. You don't have to go out to Saturn to get ice. There's tons of ice much closer. like there's layers of ice. In fact, they think that Ceres, which featured heavily
Hmm.
in there's tons of water on Ceres. Tons of water on Ceres. Tons of water in the ocean. Tons of water on the moon, actually, too. Um,
Which moon?
our moon.
There's tons of water on our moon.
Yep.
Bullshit.
Nope. No, because our moon is tidally locked. Like basically it's not spinning, so there are craters on it that are so deep that they never see sunshine. And that's where they've been finding lots of water. Basically where water is kind of like
Bro, there's
either
no way there's water on moon.
oh, tons. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. See if they have a figure for this yet.
Why don't we just go to moon then?
The
To the
moon.
moon.
That's a good question. We should be on the moon. That's why they're planning moon-based missions right now, actually. Lunar poles have over 600 billion kilograms of water ice.
No fucking way.
Yep. Which is...
I'm going. I'm ready.
Yeah. Data from this location, concentrations of 100 parts per million. 12-ounce bottle of water in a cubic meter of lunar soil.
So, but that means that there might be some kind of life form.
Life on the moon?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Why?
Though there is now. There's tardigrades on the moon now.
What is that?
Tardigrades? They're like a super, super hardy microorganism. And they're on the moon now because they were on an Israeli probe which crashed onto the moon. So now the moon is
Oh shit.
technically inhabited, but probably not, because tardigrades, when they're in extreme situations like vacuum or whatever, they kind of go into like a dormant mode. But
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's cool.
Look up water bears. That's the word, or the common word for tardigrades. Anyways, totally off topic here, but
kind of.
in real life there is tons of water out there in space, and so if SC wants to be realistic, man, you need water, lots of water. Water is very, very common in the universe, so we should be seeing it in all forms. We should be seeing ice asteroids. We should be seeing, icy moons like we see, which we got a little bit of around Microtech.
Yeah,
They have
Microtech has
some ice shell moons. Yeah. Water is very common. So big water worlds, absolutely.
I know Vala has these crystals. Does that have anything to do with water?
I don't.
The green ones that are
so.
like worthless or whatever.
Yeah.
They
I
look
don't think
cool.
I don't think those are water ice. Yeah, they do look super cool. But yeah, anyways, so that's the science section there.
Nice.
Water is super common, and I really hope that Star Citizen kind of follows through with that scientific fact, and
gives us fishing.
And gives us fishing. Yeah, gives us water moons. I would love if eventually, with that, like we were talking about, like far future doing underwater stuff. Can you imagine like exploring the undersurface ocean of like a moon that had like a giant crust of ice, and you had to like go through a couple kilometers of ice,
tool or whatever
and then
so
be in like a submarine and like scout around in this like pitch black, like super deep ocean under there. That'd be amazing.
I mean,
there's
for
so
that,
much cool gameplay.
we need much better system for scanning.
Yes, yeah, which we touched on last episode. But yeah,
that'd be amazing.
That's about it for me. Is there any more you wanted to add to
else?
water and ships interacting with water?
Yes.
Okay,
what's the name? The Titan suit or whatever the fuck the name is?
Yes. Yeah.
Holy shit, that could be underwater, like
waterproof.
Oh,
that'd be cool.
Right?
Yeah, like a deep sea variant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about that stuff? Because since I started following the game, people are talking about it, but like I haven't found any solid information about it.
It was announced once, and then nobody's heard anything about it. Besides
maybe they were
that,
like,
people keep asking on
SC Live,
like SC Live and stuff like that, and people to keep going, nope, we got no information.
I've
I
heard
think,
leaks being like, "Oh, that might happen," or this, like, but nothing more like speculation than they digging something. It's more like,
yeah, I think they wanted it for Squadron 42 because exosuits, but I
but it
think they
makes
may be
sense.
running into some like technical issues with it, which like fair enough. But I guess we'll see.
I mean, if they really wanted to make, like, they could make it like really simple and make like the Novikov armor is just an undersuit, and maybe they could make something like that is like your armor,
For like
but
deep sea diving and stuff,
or
or just for Titan suits, you mean?
Titan suits. Yeah,
Hmm,
it doesn't have to be
maybe.
a ship necessarily. Like, you know what I mean, like vehicle
I think
kind of.
I think that's the thing. I think they'd have to treat it like a vehicle.
Sure, but like when we have, okay, so if you put like well, this is a topic for another time, but like I see, so now we have our pockets full of suits, right? And helmets and shit like that, right? Because that's how you change your suit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like this will not be a case very soon, where you will have storage for your suits, right? And if you lose your ship, you might be losing your suits and whatnot. So the suits in general will be out there, and you have to get into your suit in a way. So in that case, they could make like a suit that looks different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Visually.
this is where they might be running in with the
Yeah,
technical
maybe.
issues because like they've said that the Titan suits are supposed to be big, like 9, 10 feet tall.
Oh shit. Okay. So see that
Yeah,
I don't know that. So not
and
like Iron Man suit and not like Martian
no,
suit. It's more like a
no,
fucking mech suit, whatever.
yes, but like not full size mech, just like big.
Well,
And
yeah,
like
but like
think
giant.
about think about all the ships so far. The ceilings aren't that high in them, so like, how do you load these things? Do they then crawl inside?
No, you attach
How
them
do
to
you
the side of the ship. No.
I don't know, maybe. Do they have to have specialized ships to haul them around?
I would
Because
guess
like they
so.
can't fit in a Valkyrie. The Valkyrie's I guess the Valkyrie's yeah, okay, the Valkyrie's tall enough. But like you couldn't fit one in the back of a Cutlass, you know?
Yeah, but maybe you can attach it to
You
the side of the cup. You know.
I don't know, maybe. They haven't really talked about like externally mounted stuff like that, but yeah,
Imagine how
I
many
wouldn't
people want to be Iron Man in this game, where everyone is already playing Star Wars, kind of.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I personally
Frankly,
don't
like
give a shit about it, but it would be cool to see it.
yeah. I but yeah, like the way they've described it is Titan suits are like bigger than that by quite a bit.
Mm.
Like more like was it Iron Man 2 where they had like the bad guy was like a
Yeah.
big Iron Man
Yeah, yeah,
suit?
yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I know, I know.
closer to that.
Well, to
Cuz
be fair,
they
Iron Man suit is like super slick.
yes, yeah.
It's tight.
It's like
Yeah, yeah,
body
yeah.
hugging, right? Whereas like these Titan suits are supposedly able to like mount size 1 ship weapons on them, which when you look at a size 1 ship gun compared to the size like that's as tall as a person is almost,
Size
like they're
one?
big.
No,
Yeah, they are.
no.
Well,
Since I started playing, I was like, I would stop in front of size one gun. I'd be like, man, you could totally strip this off and use it as a
you think
minigun.
so?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they
Nah,
said I don't know if you follow, but they said you will be able to do stuff like that in near future. That you will be
I don't
able to
know about
take
that.
off no, they were just talking about that recently in one of the ICs or whatever, where they like you will be able to take, or maybe theaters or war, I don't remember, but like you will be able to take size one gun and use it.
Hmm. Well, I thought they were like at least as long as a person was.
They're
They
really
could,
not
but
that, especially like
frankly,
the ballistic ones are.
yeah, but okay, try hanging on to that. That's like hanging on to like a 30 millimeter cannon in real life. Like,
Well,
good
yeah, but
luck.
like physically, when you look at them compared to the human by
Okay,
it just looks like you can hold it with like, maybe two hands, but like not too much effort.
I'm gonna have to go look at them. I'm gonna have to go look at them now.
All right, I think we're done with this, right?
Yep,
That was a good one. I like it. I'm really enjoying this when you're explaining shit, because I don't know anything about that, so that's cool.
I like
Um,
science stuff.
so we're going over to Stanton Gossip, which is the part of the show where we talk about basically stuff, because like I always say, we devour content, both of us, and if there's something to bring up that me and Maso think that you guys should take a look at, and maybe find a content creator that maybe you did not know about, but like worth watching, we bring it up. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yep.
Um,
And also ditto, just to anybody watching as well. Like if you have Star Citizen content that you've watched that you thought is awesome and you want other people to see, please throw it in the comments,
Yeah.
etc. on the video. And yeah, I'm like we said, we're ravenous kind of content devourers. So like any potentially new stuff would be much appreciated.
Yeah, chances are that whatever you link, we already watched, at least one of us.
Yeah, we'll
But
watch it
maybe not.
anyway. Or like yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure. But I don't
yeah,
mind
link it
seeing something
anyways.
that I like, or like that. That's fine. All right, so
Yeah.
you wanna open this one with the Verlaine, because I mean, just we have it first.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay,
Verlaine
sure.
is
Yeah, no, okay. So yeah, that was I came across a machinima. Shit, I can't read that. You've highlighted it all funny colors.
yeah, it's copy paste funky. It's called Verlaine Star Citizen Machinima. That's what it is.
Yeah. And yeah, it's really like it's not a really fancy machinima. They're definitely just utilizing the game engine as they as you can play it. But they managed to tell a fantastic story with this thing. Like just no words, no dialogue, like it's just like a series of like of scenes basically that they play out in game. And
so let's try and just explain quickly, with no spoilers, what it's all about. So basically, the main protagonist is probably like military pilot, right?
Ex-military, he's
mercenary.
Like
He's flying a Vanguard Warden or something like that, right? So big ship. But and he's like this. I like the first scenes where they're like talking using the tablet in Microtech.
Yeah,
and his girlfriend or friend, right? Sorry, go for it.
Well, yeah. So he's on Microtech just chilling or whatever, and like they use the game engine to just display that. I guess he gets a message which comes across as a mission from like his girlfriend or something like that. Like she goes dead on comms or something like that. She
tells him like these 890 jump parties are amazing, and he's rub it in, and then shit happens. And basically, they use the 890J mission as a plot and the whole machinima like story, but like it's really cool
really well
way
done.
Of showing it. Yeah, I liked it.
It's really well done. Like that one, absolutely check it out. We'll have the description.
It's short, so we're gonna have all of these links.
Have the link in the description. It's only what is it, like 3-4 minutes long, something like that.
You can drop it in your chat. By the way, when you're doing this, you can drop the links in your chat so that people know what you're talking about. That's a great one. I would definitely say everyone should take a look. Some people just put a lot of effort into making content that they're not trying to gain anything from, and not like I'll tell you right now, like it takes a long time for a long podcast like this to set up every time, which is why I took days off streaming Sundays. But we really enjoy it. But then it takes much more time to make a proper machinima. I would say like days, probably. Day in, day out, a lot of free time that someone invests, and it looks really good. And I'm more than happy whenever if like one person sees it and likes it, we did something good, right? So kudos for this one, and everyone should check it out. Then I'm going to take over a little bit. You're going to see all the links in the description. It was a week of Daymar Rally. So Daymar Rally was casted by Atmo Esports, which you can find on Twitch, and I would tell you to follow this because they're bringing up more, and we're going to touch on that a little bit. Maso, you don't really know much about it, but I think it's going to be interesting for you. The new events that they're bringing. But just before we go into that, Fortnightly Frontier, which is another podcast that both of us like and enjoy, the show and host as well, which is Darionator and Meyer. They did an episode about just the day before Daymar rally, and Meyer was participating this time. Last year and this year, Dianator was flying one of the Yacht Club's 890 jumps for like VIPs. They have the whole VIP thing. And
which is
last year,
awesome.
it's super cool. And last year, Meyer was on board as a VIP guest, and they were role playing, and you could watch from that perspective, like whatever VIPs and owners of teams and whatnot, like on that
Yeah,
890 jump. It was a cool stream. This year, however, Meyer was part of the team. He did not really expect to drive. However, their first driver exploded relatively early. It was it's a female driver. She's really freaking good. Not to like take a jab at Meyer, but I think she was better than Meyer. She's like the first choice for a reason. Well, Meyer is new to this, so that's fair. So he had to start with that after like I don't know, like 100 kilometers only. So most of the race, and holy shit, he was doing a really good job. I was watching a lot of his stream. Unfortunately, at one of the vehicle switches that they were doing, server crashed. So the support ship killed Meyer and fell through the ground. So that when server recovered, they could not continue because of all that happened. So, but they were like 200 kilometers away, and they were second at the time. So they actually did really good. Meyer's link in description as well. Amazing content creator, really cool voice. Just like a super nice guy that you should check out. He's been back in and playing Star Citizen forever as well. Like he's one of the OG. I know they scanned his face and used his voice for something in Madness. Like he's a really really nice guy. Also, we're gonna link the episode of Captain's Table by Astropub, Paul Shelley. Down there, it's the last Captain's Table. I mean, we know Astropub is a huge supporter of Daymar Rally as well, and he did like nice pieces about the Daymar Rally itself with the history and lore.
But he also gaming on there too.
Yes, and so the last episode of Captain's Table tells you a lot about the Daymar Rally itself, and then in Q&A section they answered a bunch of questions from people who don't really know much about Daymar Rally. So very very informative and solid content. So that's it when it comes to Daymar. I'm just gonna go back to this. So Atmo Esports, which is Crucian, as you mentioned, basically doing this. Crucian used to create a lot of content, stream and whatnot. This was before my time, so I don't really know, but I've heard it. But then kids, job, life. But anyways, he still loves and supports this game, and his part of his profession is creating these big events, and they are known for the Daymar Rally, obviously, and the Earthlocker, I think, which they did recently, which is super cool, like Destruction Derby in the crater. Fucking amazing.
Sounds so fun, to be honest.
Meyer won that actually.
Oh no way.
Cool. Yeah, in a what's the name? The Dragonfly. He actually killed some people with like a fucking rocket launcher or whatever. Like it was hilarious. But what they're bringing up as a new thing, and I think this has potential to either flop poorly because of the state of the game and the excitement of player base, or become much bigger than Daymar Rally. And here's why. So they call it
Stanton 7.
Stanton 7. So they call it Stanton 7, which is, and they compare it to WRC, which is World Rally Championship, or Formula One. These are year-long championships in the current world.
I love that idea.
Right? It's fucking amazing. So what I don't like about it, but I support, it's their shit. They can do it whatever, any way you want. In general, I would 100% apply for something like this. So they will have 7 races in 7 different planets or moons with different set of rules. Now, this is what kicked me out of it. Exactly. But it's interesting to follow. I think a lot of people will follow these events because it's a league, right? So it takes time. There's going to be a chart with like who has how many points and whatnot, and they're going nuts. So there will be cyclone race somewhere, I don't know, There's gonna be
Yeah.
a fucking golf cart, Grey Cat buggy race around the garages of landing area in Microtech, which is
That's
fucking
awesome.
amazing. There's gonna
Yeah.
be on foot, like I don't know, like there's gonna be 7 different races throughout the year, and then at the last one they're gonna crown the champion of the season, but also each event will have like whatever. But so you gotta
Yeah.
check atmoesports.com. I'm gonna have all the links down there. There's a way you can't just enter this. So you're gonna have 16 teams. This is great, but at the same time, it's kind of scary. They will have qualifications for this, but not for one race, but like the whole set of races. So in order to participate, you will have to be in a top 16 team in the quali, which happens, I think, in February. And if you go through, you will be one of the 16 teams that will go throughout the whole season. What scares me here is some people might go through, and for God knows which reasons, they might have to like not play for all seven races, which might scuff
Yeah.
kind of the whole thing. But they might have a backup plan. These guys have experience with this, and they're the most experienced event makers, organizers
Oh yeah.
in our own community of Star Citizen, and this is a big bite, and I'm excited about it. What's
Yeah.
your thought about this,
Have
man?
I think that's amazing. And frankly, if anybody can pull it off, I would not, like again, Corsair. Did you watch the
I
episode?
did, yeah.
He was on Yacht Club with
Very, I did watch that one. I think I
like,
watched it live
man,
actually.
that guy knows how to
Professional,
do shit like
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Very
So
passionate
like
and
if
very professional, which is cool.
but I think I was a little bit concerned when you said that there's different rules for each race. I feel like that's
Rules as
I don't
in
know,
like
that
entries. I
could
don't like that because I might like driving Ursa Rover, but I don't like
yeah.
driving Nyx, right?
But
Or
I at the same time that could end up being kind of cool because you'd end up basically with people who
everyone's
like
good at
with
something,
teams
right?
exactly right.
Mm.
So like so you do end up seeing a little bit more of like stratification on the leaderboard, and you might even see like a little bit more back and forth. Like if that guy's like you could equate it to Formula One and like various drivers' performance on different tracks. You know what I mean? Like
Or cars rather. And
could be
you
cars.
know, because in Formula One right now the rules are that everyone starts with their car and then they are allowed to develop certain parts throughout the season. So not very often, but it happens that a car that is capable of being like in top 10 all of a sudden becomes a top 4 team or a car, because they developed something. And recently,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
many years ago, there was a team that I don't want to go too much into Formula One, but Jensen Button, who is a British driver, was driving for a team that only existed for one season. They developed something crazy. If you guys want to check it out, check it out. That's his only title, and they won because no one expected something like that to happen. Anyways, but that's what I'm saying. Like that,
Yeah.
something like that can actually happen, kind of.
Yes, and I hope that's the case. The other thing that kind of gives me a little bit of pause is that like there's one qualifier for the entire season. And I think I get why they want to do that because they want to solidify the playing field a little bit. But like you said, I mean, it would really suck to
Lose a
lose
team.
the qualifiers because you DC'd or something like that.
Well,
Like
listen, that's something that they talk about a lot because on Daymar Rally you prepare the whole year, and then you lose to 30K. And I'll tell you something, it's fucked up. There's no other way to say that. But these people who are participating are parts of big orgs, and they know what they're getting into. And you can see
right.
like from the interviews that like the last year's champions of Daymar Rally had 3 teams this year. All 3 teams did not make it, and they were like, "That's the name of the game,"
Eh, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
right?
It'd
So
be cool
it
if
is what it is.
eventually yeah, it'd be cool if eventually they had, like, different groups, so you'd have, like, group A and group B kind of a thing similar to Rally, so, like, like, if you get shit luck or whatever and, like, in group A, like, you could still do a qualifier and try to compete in group B or something like
Sure.
that.
As
Um,
Crushing says, this can only get better, right? With
yeah.
like more stable game, and then exactly what you're saying right now. learning from, like, they have to start like this, sure, but then next year, they might have divisions, right?
Yeah,
For example.
totally.
Another
Yeah,
thing that I just want to bring up quickly is they always have sponsors. They have merch and they have giveaways. So if that's something you're looking for, like physical giveaways, you can get like headsets or a Daymar Rally jersey, or like stuff like that. Not talking only about ships as well, but like they also have physical stuff. Like Daymar Rally actually have the replica of Dakar Rally trophies in full
oh, that's
size
awesome.
that says Daymar instead of Dakar, and it's like the whole thing. It's like the Sand People, but like it's the
That's
Star
so
Citizen
cool.
armor, but like it looks almost the same as Dakar Rally. It's fucking
Yeah.
amazing. So
And see, this right there is why, like, if you can support these guys and buy some merch and stuff, go
hundred
do it.
percent
Like, these guys put in so much effort to this over the years. It's insane.
beautiful.
And they are absolutely deserving of it for sure.
Yeah, I am sometimes salty at how they execute shit and whatnot, and then I'm like, come on, man, no one is doing anything as good as these guys. They deserve all the love and respect. We just get carried away. I just expect even more from them, which is ridiculous.
Yep.
But yeah, okay, so okay, the next one will be a little bit rough. To
Yeah.
preface this, I just want to say we it just this does not only this is not only true for the content creator we're going to talk about, which is Space Tomato. And if you watch like first two episodes, you'll see that I have a special spot for this guy. I really like his content.
Yeah.
He takes shitloads of work, really good equipment, and amazing editing skills.
Yep.
Like he has his community help him make like really nice shots, so his content is top notch.
His writing and
His
like
writing is great as
and
well,
it's
right?
just like really, really improved over since he started too.
Well, I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, since I know him, it's good
Yeah.
content. So I am absolutely like sub to his channel, bell is ringing, and all that stuff. However, I don't agree all the time with everyone and what everyone does.
Yeah, like we pointed out, this isn't exclusive to him, but one of the things we noticed this last week or over the last couple weeks is that a lot of content creators have been putting out um
Expectation
videos saying,
videos.
yeah, expectation video, like, oh, new gameplay, here's what you can expect, coming into 2021, and it's based off of the progress tracker and stuff like that, because there is a lot of, and we talked about this last episode actually, there's a lot of really interesting stuff on there and it's easy to get excited, but I feel like Space Tomato and a couple other people have kind of gone
Overhyping.
overboard a little bit, and they're overhyping a lot of stuff, saying, here's what you can expect in 2021, when anybody who's played Star Citizen for any amount of time knows that the name of this project is delays, and I think it is, in a lot of these videos, it really unrealistic to say, here's what you can look forward to in 2021. We may get some of this stuff, but a lot of it is like,
There,
dude, like,
there's nine
uh,
things, and by all means, check the video. There's a link in description.
yes,
Description.
yeah,
It's worth to look, and but there's nine things that he's touching on. Some of the things are salvage, for example, or like it's sure there's a
yeah,
possibility for some of this to happen, but like the way he did this video and others as well is like very he has a strong how do I say this, like he stands strong at explaining things. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and he did not try to put in your ears kind of that this is just a possibility. It feels like okay, so this will happen next year, even though he doesn't say it that way. That's how it comes up, and
yes.
that's
And if
not
you're
something that
new,
is healthy, I think, for especially for the new player.
yeah, like the one thing that Star Citizen community constantly has issues with is expectations, right? And hype. and kind of getting really, really excited and worked up over stuff that is appearing on the roadmap, when even the old roadmap, there was the disclaimer right when you open it, like, this is all just like, what we hope to do. And I feel like these videos don't help with the community's expectation issues. In fact, I think they kind of exacerbate them. And the other thing is that a lot of the ways that they portray, because it's all slick editing and really beautiful shots and stuff like that, I really think that if you're a new player looking at this, you could watch this video and expect a completely different experience than what you're actually going to get playing this game.
It's a
Like, this
debate.
game is this game is beautiful. It is, and it is stunning, but like, it is very rough, as we were saying, like, at the beginning of this episode. Like, both of us want to play this game this patch, but the technical issues, on have been really putting a damper on our enjoyment. And this is coming from people who play this game a lot and know a lot of workarounds, and are very, very tolerant, right? And so I think that videos like this, while they are fun and it's fun to be excited about things, I really don't know if they're very. I don't think that they're helpful,
But
and I think they
what you
they
said
set
is,
unrealistic
and
expectations.
their target audience is new player, right? Because I
Yeah,
know what's coming in next year, what's supposed to come, right? I
yeah,
will still watch Tomato or Mike or whatever my content
sure.
creators list is, but I know this, so I'm gonna watch this and I'm gonna be like,
Super
oh
Mac
man, another good
Brothers.
video, right?
Yeah,
But
Super Mac Brothers did a similar kind
yeah,
of video, and the issues are the same. It's like, while some of this may, while all of this is worth being excited for, it all of these sorts of videos should be disclaimered, saying, like, explaining to the people who are maybe not super familiar with how the development of
mhm.
Star Citizen works, that
He has
that
that
these timelines can
disclaimer,
shift.
you know?
Does he? I didn't
Yes, but
notice it.
well, because you don't see it. You have to click on show more info under the video, and then it's in caps. But who clicks on that? You know what I mean? Like to
Well, I mean,
his
I don't, because oftentimes I'm just listening to this as
true.
background noise while I work, right? So
I mean, I
I don't
want to
have the
defend him
opportunity.
a little bit, but I do think this is almost like I was rude even when we started setting up the podcast, and I said that it feels very clickbaity.
Yes, it
And
kind of
in two
does.
cases, like first of all, it's a clickbaity for the YouTube stuff, and then also for bringing more people to the game, which is great. We all want more players and more money for Star Citizen and CIG, but I don't want people to get into the game and be like, "What the fuck did I spend my
Yeah.
money on?" Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is something that was, like, you can see in the numbers that CR posted in his letter. They don't have very good player retention. You know, so, and I think videos like this are in part to blame for that. Maybe a small part, but
Mm.
like, because these people come in after watching these amazing videos, and they expect a particular game, so they buy in and they're excited about it, and then they don't stay. And that is represented in the numbers that we saw broken down for us at the end of CR's letter. We had massive growth of accounts, and massive, like, obviously, like, huge record breaking year for funding, and you see their concurrent player numbers, and their
Nowhere
concurrent
near
player numbers are nowhere close to the
to even
growth.
expect it, I guess.
And that
And
and that is a pretty clear indicator that these people are jumping into the game and then backing the fuck off for whatever reason. And a lot of them may
it's
be
predatory.
measured. A lot of them may be like, well, okay, I'll just come back later. But
Sure.
I guarantee you that a lot of them get really fired up, and you know,
Smashed
and
down to
just
the
say,
ground.
fuck this game, Alt F4, and who knows when they'll be back, if ever.
And
And
I just want to make a different, like, because we're bashing some content creators, and I'm always down to, credit where credit's due. But if you're doing something that I think is wrong, my personal opinion is this, and I'm gonna bring it up. But there's so we also have other, like, we have morphologists and Tomato. They make like a video, a review of the ship, right? Now, and it looks fucking amazing, and I have no issues with this. that's like Tomato. Like if you watch his video for MSR, holy shit, dude, it's really good.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little bit too much and not really realistic, and it makes you feel like,
Uh,
oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and he tells you it's really good for this and that. Whatever, that's fine. But
yeah.
if someone is using that much effort, that fucking amazing visuals, because with the ship they're not lying to you. With the
Yeah.
gameplay, I kind of feel like I don't want to
It is.
call him a
It does.
liar, dude. He's a fucking
No.
amazing dude,
No.
but
Absolutely. And
I think
it
we
just
get
feels a
caught
little
up
disingenuous.
In the YouTube logarithm game sometimes, and just you just get to a point where you're trying to make something that will appeal to wide
Yeah.
audience, but
Well, and again, like I like rewind a bit again, like there's so much in that progress tracker that is exciting. So it makes sense that you'd want to, like, make videos about all the
sure.
cool shit that could be coming. But I feel like you're right in that the way that these videos end up being launched, or the way that they're portrayed,
Some of these
for
content
algorithm
creators are
purposes or whatever.
and some of these content
Yeah.
creators are very good. They have I think of Morphologies and Tomato, especially two of them. I'm thinking about like anyone else, but like two of them have this knowledge that translates into a superpower that can technically push you
Well,
into making a decision because of how good their videos are. Right? You watch it, you're
yeah.
like, holy shit, I want this. Right?
Well, they're amazing. Well, that's it right there. Like they have just like this raw talent for capturing
Well, if it's raw
like
talent or
awesome
like hard
shots
work, I don't
and
want to
stuff
go
like that.
into that, you know. But
Oh, sure. But some people got it. Well,
sure,
I don't know.
sure.
I can argue
You need to have
about
an
this
eye
with my
for it.
wife
I'm a
all the time.
photographer
Yeah,
myself, so I know, I
totally.
understand that,
Yeah.
right? But
I do not have that eye.
oof.
And that's, so like practice learning how the mechanics of the camera and stuff and all the technical aspects behind it all you want, but it's not something that comes naturally to me, so I would have to work
Fair,
extra hard. And these guys, like, their cinematography and stuff like that is so good that it just, to me,
dangerous.
smacks of talent.
Sure.
I'm sure that there was a lot of practice in there too, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
dude, these guys are talented.
They're amazing.
Anyways,
So therefore, please, like the link will be in description, but don't judge the channel based. Even if you agree with us, don't judge the channel like by one video. Check out our
oh
videos
yeah,
because you're gonna fucking love it. And something that I don't like on Twitch, I don't have that much issues with the YouTube videos making giveaways, and he always have a giveaway in his YouTube videos. I think that's fine. I don't mind that. So yeah, you might win yourself a starter ship or something like that as well. Yeah, I feel slightly bad because he's one of my favorite content creators, but it is what it is. I'm
I
like
don't
that,
know.
you know what I mean?
It's okay to have an opinion,
Yeah,
and
sure.
but, like, he's a big boy. He's a YouTuber.
Oh, he's a
He
big boy.
like he can absolutely take absolutely take some
Sure,
criticism.
sure.
You have to
No
if you're
hate
gonna.
though. This is not.
Yeah,
There are content creators that we're not gonna touch today on, but like, oh my god, like
let's just say there's
here,
some out there that we are not big fans of.
true.
The one I wanted to kind of jump into, I guess this is another somewhat salty one. I mean, well, sort of. I
So for
mostly
the
laughed at
end,
this.
I don't know.
A
I'm
couple weeks ago, we were
50-50.
going to talk on this last week, and we didn't really get to it. But somebody released they called it the Honest 312 trailer, and I watched it, and I just laughed. Right, so I shared it to a bunch of different. I shared it on my Twitter, shared it on a bunch of different like Discord channels and stuff like that, and looking back on it, I feel a little bit bad about it because I like
The
I
reaction
feel
that
like
people
if
made.
you're watching it, like, and okay, this Honest 312 trailer basically is basically showing all the,
Shitting on
like,
the
the
game.
bad shit, just shitting on the current patch, like, now with added desync and
Yeah.
please spend more money on ships and all that kind of stuff. But like, I watched it and I just thought it was funny. And looking back on it, I can see how most of the people who watched that link that I shared probably thought I was shitting on the game. But
Listen, Maso,
Mostly I
here's a problem. It's
mostly I
I don't want to say it's low effort because this guy actually took
oh
time to
oh
make
totally
it,
low effort.
but it's fucking too easy to mock an
Oh, but
alpha
it's
game. It's too
funny.
easy.
But this is a thing. You don't watch it as if it's serious. And this is where I was kind of going with this. You watch it and you just laugh because if you play Star Citizen, you're gonna fucking encounter every single thing that he just showed in that
True, it's true.
312 video.
And I laughed about it
And
as well.
and that's the thing. Like, I think that as a community, this is where I was gonna kind of move into with this. Like the negative stuff like this, just laugh at it. Like laugh at it because it's funny, because you're part of an alpha and it's hilariously bad sometimes and I think something that just I think more people just need to laugh about stuff like this a little bit more instead of
If we were
because I see
taking
so
it,
many people
yeah,
who see something like this and they get kind of defensive because they feel like they have to defend this game that they love. And I understand where that's coming from, but man, like just yeah, with stuff like this, just laugh at it. Laugh at it because like there's some truth to it, Like
if
yeah,
true,
312 is
that's
fucking
correct.
rough. It's
Well, not
hard
for
to
everyone though.
it doesn't mean that it doesn't well, it doesn't mean that the project's like shit and it doesn't mean, that you hate it or that even that the people making these videos necessarily hate it, you know?
True.
It just
And
is what it
usually they
is.
don't. Usually they don't.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think like, and we'll have this one's by Nash, and it's the Honest 312 trailer, and I think it's absolutely worth a watch because it's just funny.
Just
Like,
take it. It's a good
yeah,
video, and take it with that in mind that you should just watch it
yeah.
as a joke. I do see
White,
why people get pissed off because Google logarithm, sorry, YouTube logarithm will not choose you only for this. We got could be someone who's been in for a month and this is their first patch and it's really fucked up and they watch something like this and they're like, well, why the fuck am I even which still, do I feel like people should not make funny videos like this? No, they should continue.
if somebody is going to let like some bad experiences and then watch this video on 312 and that is going to make the decision as to whether or not they want to continue playing this game, they probably shouldn't keep playing this game.
There's truth to that as well. I would just like
Like
people
it is.
who make stuff like this to start. I don't remember. I mean, we were postponing this one. This was supposed to be the last week's one.
Yeah.
But then we went too long. Even though now we're going way longer.
Yeah. Shit.
But 3 hours 16 minutes, bro. But anyways,
We should
like
probably wrap this up.
I would really like if these people would have like an intro, kind of, where they're like, hey, I like this game, but there's shit in it as well. So here we go.
I
Something
don't
like
know.
that.
I just feel like in this era, like you just have to learn to let that shit roll off. Like there's so much
I
crap,
do.
there's so much content out there that like, and this is kind of what I was going to get with this, but I don't want to go in too much because we're already running way long. White knighting doesn't help the community.
No.
It's like hardcore white knighting is what has like people memeing about the Star Citizen cult.
You gotta
You
explain
know
what White Knight is now. Because some people might
why?
not know.
Really? Okay,
Of
white
course.
knighting is where you just take the opinion that like CIG, in this case CIG can do no wrong. Everything they do is amazing. This game is amazing, and anybody who says anything critical or wrong about it, you raise your torches and pitchforks, which I suppose isn't very knightly. Um, and go after them, like with like exclamation points and all caps
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
And it's like
And it's
super overprotective even when there's something
yeah,
wrong with the game. Which is
yeah,
when we
like
bring this up,
inability
like you can bring
in
up like Tyler himself, who is the community manager of this game, is against that, for example. Who is basically the voice of CIG in a way.
yeah,
We had
yeah, he
situations where he would say like, no, we want to hear bad shit because
yeah.
that helps us.
And mostly like honestly when Tyler says shit like that on the forums, like part of me is just kind of like, well, you're just saying this because it's your job. But he was actually on the Yacht Club podcast early last year, like May last year or something like that. And dude, like like honestly, I said this to Chag too. Like go back and watch that episode, even though the stuff that they're talking about isn't really applicable to Star Citizen right now because there's an entire year of development since then. But Xylo's awesome, you know, like he's just got such a level-headed view about the game and about how people react to the game. And one of the things he said on that podcast was like, you know, when somebody mentioned like, oh, I just get really frustrated when I see people flinging around misinformation and stuff like that and getting all like, you know, angry about stuff. And Xylo just said, don't get angry, don't get worked up. Like we take all of this feedback as data, you
Hmm.
know, like it doesn't get under our skin, it doesn't make us feel bad, you know, like he talks about how they literally take all of that feedback and they just break it down into like what the feedback's saying, where it's coming from, etc. And they just take it like that and they add it basically to basically a spreadsheet, you know. So
Yeah.
there's no need for people to defend this project. There's no need for people to white knight,
It's
you know,
strong
like
enough to like to prove itself
yeah,
to
and
those who
that
want to see it, right?
like even though it's really rough right now and even though there's times where it'll frustrate you, it frustrated the shit out of me this week. You know, like it's getting to a point where it's starting to speak for itself and it doesn't need white knighters and it doesn't need people to get defensive about the project because and that's my this is where my opinion comes in. I think that does more harm than good, you
I,
know. um
I don't know. Like like in my like I think it equals with the fact that current content creation meta is just talking shit about anything and that gives you views. So
sure,
I
getting
think it
clicks.
equals somewhere because that's crap as well.
No, but
We can
this is the thing.
okay. Oh,
like like you just said there, like that equals money, so people are gonna like for example, this is one of the things we were talking about before we started the show here. Like almost every year around this time of year we get a flurry of articles that go out there, you know,
fucking PC gamer
saying that
whatever.
yeah, saying that Star Citizen now has now made this much money and it's still shit and there's no
Betraying
release
their
date in sight and
community.
blah blah
Like
blah 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 blah, you know, like all this like, and the reason they do that is because it gets rage
clicks,
clicks
clicks, clicks.
from everybody. So you get the people who are either Star Citizen haters, but an equal portion of their income comes from people like white knights who got to jump in there and read and get all mad about like
Yeah.
what this company's or what this
That's why
article's
there's
saying
no
about Star
bad
Citizen.
publicity, I guess.
And it's like, you know, like if you want that sort of behavior to stop feeding them, you know.
Nah.
So
I
like
think
like
like there's
every
never
time
gonna
that you
like
make every time that you make a comment on a YouTube video
it
or
helps
on
that
one of those
video.
articles, it helps that video and it helps that article.
But like you're
So
trying to learn to teach the I don't know. I don't want to be rude, but like I think it's more important because we will never lose bad mouthing in current meta of like content creation. We will never lose white knighting as well. I think it's more important to like tell someone who is new that there are these things. Don't trust everything that talks shit about the game and sometimes take it with like a laugh like that video. And
yeah,
also don't worry about like some people get fucking overprotective. Fuck him. Like you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like if you feel bad about something, it's okay to say it and keep in mind that it if you have a platform and you say it, it's not bad. It's actually good for the development of the game. Don't be a dick for no reason, but if you don't like something, that's cool. And if you get attacked by white knights, fuck them. Like whatever, man. You know, like I
yeah,
don't
basically.
because we will
Anyways,
never lose white knights. There's it's just not gonna happen. It's not
that's
gonna
fair.
happen. Do you have any
I just think,
questions?
do I have any questions yet? No, I just checked.
Okay.
Oh, I had somebody ask about not using a question when iCash V1 is supposed to be in. And that's a question we don't really know. They're doing
Well,
they
we know
have on the
it's
progress
supposed to be,
tracker,
right? Yeah.
they well, Chris says Q2 of this year, so obviously it's not going to be Q2 because Chris is never right in any of his time frames that he's ever given us.
Sure, but that's when it's supposed to land. Like, so
Yeah,
their
just like it
current
was supposed
idea.
to be end of last year.
Yeah, no, neither of us expect this to happen this year, even, or if it does, maybe at the end of the year or something like that, with a mega patch like 4
Yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, we had Chris saying that he expects it to be a Q2,
Well,
which is
I
like,
think to be
when is that? Like June, July?
yeah, end of June.
Okay,
And I think to his credit, I think he said they're hoping for that, but
which means
you know,
nothing, right? So
which means probably not. But I
yeah,
think where there's a lot of confusion is that there's actually in the progress tracker there is a reference to iCash for Q1. So a lot of people I've heard saying like, "Oh, iCash is now coming in Q1 of this year," but that's not what that.
like a component, rather,
Yeah, it's
like,
not what
to put
that
it simply.
that actually says. It says that they're converting the last of the legacy data
Oh,
in the
that's the
game
one,
to be compatible with iCache.
which technically
And
means nothing.
no, I don't think that'll actually have any real effects on the game. But yeah. Anyways, yeah,
All right. Well, that was a long one, 3.5 hours.
yeah, we're
Whoever
gonna
asked
have
the
to
question, thank you so much. That's amazing. We want more of that for sure. Um, and
work on this. We talk too much.
well, we're working on it. Imagine if we had 4 topics today, and you thought this one will be short, right?
I did. I thought this one was gonna be like hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh boy, it's 1 a.m. here. Holy moly!
Yeah.
Do you wanna take this one off, or
Well, I still haven't written an outro. This is third week running that I don't have an outro. But thanks for everybody who's watching us live. This is the first week we've managed to get that working, and it was a technical nightmare that
hurdle?
took us a long time to figure out, but
Hours.
mostly probably because we're dumb. Uh, and if you're watching to this point on YouTube, thank you. This is a really long one again. If you guys wouldn't mind, we would appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you guys have any comments about any of the Stanton gossip that we talked about, please leave them. And like we said, if you have content that you watched that you thought was awesome, throw them in the comments. We're like Chick pointed out, we watch a lot of SC content, so it's possible that we've seen it, but you know,
You
never
never
know.
know. There might
And
be a
we
gem that we don't know about. So
like yeah, if you like something, then throw it out there.
don't forget, you can
Um,
watch it live on Twitch. Probably Sundays. That's when we
yeah,
record. If you want to know more about it, you should probably just follow Masocast on Twitch and Twitter.
Twitter. Yep.
Same goes for me. I tweet whenever we do this. So yeah, if you wanna, because we don't really have this set time for this. It takes a long time to set up and start. But yeah, if you wanna watch it live and maybe add a question or two that we can answer during the show, feel free to do so.
You know what we should also do? Well, we should probably have this topic, but this conversation offline. But we should maybe throw your Discord in there as well. We should
Sure,
throw like a channel in your Discord or something like that.
sure, we can do that, or we
But
can do the Discord for
yeah,
the. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
yeah, and our info and stuff like that. If you want to follow us, is in the description, stuff like that.
As always.
So yeah. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. As usual, we talked a lot, a lot.
Mm.
But yeah,
I enjoyed
have
this
a good
one
one.
again. I love it.
Oh yeah,
Thank
oh
you
yeah.
so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching if you are being live. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you next week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.